Welcome to Rebel News Live tonight. We're doing something a little bit different. Sean,
Yeah,
how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's been fun setting up all the tech and trying to get all this to work. So the third piece of the puzzle, Benji, will be joining us soon live from the event. So that should be fun. But yeah, look, it's going to be an interesting night, Avi. A lot of people are anticipating various outcomes. I know a lot of the people that watch our shows would probably want to see One Nation come through on this by-election. I've seen some people in the comments asking, is there even a by-election happening? So it's going to be an interesting night, I think, regardless, because it will tell us how One Nation is performing here in Victoria. Whether they win or lose, it'll give us a good indication, especially in a metropolitan seat here within the Nepean electorate.
Absolutely. It's about 25 minutes, a bit over 25 minutes till the polls close and those numbers start to come through. I imagine it's going to be a kind of quick counting, but I wouldn't put anything past the VEC. I don't want to pick fights with them because I've just filed my application for my party. See, my competition is going tonight. Running in the election, One Nation. These are all my competitors in the
That's
Free
right.
Palestine Party.
Yeah.
No longer, I don't need any more members, guys, as much as I love you guys. So that should be coming through pretty soon. So I don't want to pick fights with the VC, but we do know that maybe they got a heart attack when they saw the application actually come through. So it might be a little longer to count tonight. But as you said before, we've got Benji on the ground live, going to give us a live feed, high definition live feed from there, cover all the speeches, all the reactions as it happens. He'll also be hearing in the show, so he'll be able to go around, get people to react, win or lose. And I think
Yeah.
win or lose, look, I obviously want One Nation to win. I want to keep that momentum going. I think it's going to give people an extra boost. Not that they particularly need it. It's not the most important by-election of the world, of anything really, because in 6 there's another election. This is for a seat. This is how much of a flop the Liberal Party is, that they lost their member 6 months from an election. There's forced a by-election. Couldn't just keep him on. Couldn't even keep their own person on for the
Yeah.
last months. That just shows you, why would you put your faith in such a party? They've got to earn your trust. I think a group that has earned it, the people that are putting in all the work, is One Nation. I've said that for many years. It's not just a new thing. So I do hope they win it, just to show that Victoria is like South Australia. But even if they don't win it, we get to see the kind of numbers.
Yeah.
People, what were the percentages, and how it plays out. It's going to be an interesting night just for that. I believe the actual party, so we'll have a live feed from the party room there at the pub in about probably 15 minutes. However, the party's not starting, I don't think, officially till 7:30. So I imagine from 7 it'll be busy. So you'll have a bit of an empty pub
Well,
room, but I believe you
we'll
have a
try.
few
We'll try to
guests.
keep you guys entertained because we have a few, because we spend a bit of time in Nepean, Avi, covering Pauline Hanson's visits there. So some of you guys might have missed some of those videos. So it'll be interesting to see what the locals were saying leading up to the election. We'll also look at some of the reactions online from the news, and even one of the things that we can do on this show that most shows that cover elections don't really do. We'll actually go to X, see live reactions from everyone else. That's rest of us, the rest of the people of Victoria, as well as your comments coming through. So you can do super chats, participate in the conversation, and take part in the electoral process in that way. So it's going to be exciting. There might be a little bit of dull time here and there, but we'll try to keep it entertaining. Obviously, we'll have Benji there roaming throughout the night. Avi will join in throughout bits and pieces. I'll be hosting most of the night, and I'm also trying to get Topher Field to join in to help us with some analysis. So he should be jumping in at some point throughout the night as well. So lots of things going on, but guys, settle in, flick back and forth between the different things, but come back to our stream, take part in the conversation, because this is where the people are, Avi. You see the comments. This is
Don't
where the
flick.
people are. ABC can't do this. Sky News won't do this. This is how it's got to be done in the future.
I don't know what Rukshan's talking about. Don't flick to anything. Go chuck it on your big
No,
TV.
I mean you can be casual. You can see the other stuff, but it's nothing. It's not impressive. This is more fun. This is where it's at.
What I'm going to do, because I'm banned from running the show tonight. Hence, Rukshan is actually running everything tonight. This was the last minute decision to actually do it and send Benji there. I've got dinner guests, and I'm going to get in trouble for being in the studio for too long. But I'm going to check in and out between the show. So Rukshan's in charge. It's all running out of his studio at the moment. Guy says it'll probably be a better show without me, to be fair. Make sure in the meantime, smash that like, smash that share the stream. It'll get more exciting as we go along. As the night goes along, I'll have it on my big TV there at the dinner. So I'll be keeping an eye on it as well. Rukshan's going to bring the numbers up on screen. Like I said, he'll put some videos in between, and we will have a live feed. I'm just touching base with Benji. He should be almost on site there. Having said that, Benji known for his cultural driving, which tends to end up being mostly close calls. In fact, there was a very, very close call recently.
We should get that dash cam footage and play it for the audience in one of our shows.
We've both seen it.
We've both seen it.
I'm excited to see what tonight brings. Whether Victoria really, there is hope for Victoria. Whether the numbers that are the polls that, well, firstly what we saw in South Australia, whether Victoria is not a completely lost case, and Victoria can be a state that is saved by one nation, or whether we are that basket case. Whether we are. He's walking in, Benji. He's walking. So he's made it. The hard part's done, guys. Benji has arrived at the pub, and he's just walking in. But yeah, so we'll see by the end of tonight. Obviously, Labor's not running in this one. They people need to understand the Labor Party did not put up a candidate, and this is not because they can never win that seat. They have won that seat before.
Well, once in all its history, they've won once.
And when was it? What year was it?
In the 2000s, yeah, not that long ago.
I think it was a recent win, but they know they are going to get annihilated in this election, so they don't want the embarrassment in the lead up to the state election. Almost for the opposite reason of what we and kind of what we're keeping an eye on here of how One Nation performs, whether they win or lose. Like I said in the beginning, this is not a seat for the next 3 to 4 whatever years, 4 years thing. So we're really just looking at it as a gauge. Where do Victorians really sit? The average suburbs, where they sit. This is a safe Liberal seat generally, historically. So if the Liberals lose it to One Nation, it'll probably give you an indication of the rest of the state, if things keep trending in this direction, how the Liberals are going to stack up against One Nation. But obviously we don't have Labor in there, so we don't get a chance to see how they're going to what they're going to kind of do to the Labor Party in seats that are but I think there'll be a lot of numbers that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to hear from Topher Fields, because he kind of analyzes his stuff from a nerd's position. He's an absolute.
He understands numbers, unlike us. We're not really numbers people, are we?
I would be interested. Like I might not be on the show then, but maybe ask if there's time in the downtime how he feels about the plan that we have triggered the Premier even to respond to. Our Free Palestine Party, our idea of taking I think I imagine, I'm just guessing here, that he would like the idea, but he is somebody that I seem to remember he likes the group voting ticket.
Okay.
But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he just likes the preferential system where your vote doesn't get wasted. So I don't know. Maybe ask him if there's time for it, just out of my personal interest. I don't want to have to call him. I prefer not to call.
I think the problem that Topher has is potentially if this group voting ticket is removed, he might have to remove his marbles video that he made on YouTube about preferences, because it would undo all that entire video that he's put a lot of effort into. So that might be the reason he's opposed to this. But touching back on your point, Avi, around One Nation's performance in South Australia and what we can expect tonight in Victoria in the by-election, I think the difference really is a lot of the South election electorates were perhaps a bit more rural as well, whereas here we're looking at more of the inner city. It's still out there in Mornington. We might have people watching from there being offended by me saying it's out there, but it's still in the sticks. If you're in the city, that's a few hours away, but still it is a different type of crowd. So it remains to be seen how this crowd responds to One Nation, because Victoria is very different as a state to South Australia. The makeup of the people, the mixed demographics. Now, they did have a really great result in South Australia, but Victoria, the different case altogether. So I think that's why we're really interested in the performance. And from what we saw on the ground and the reporting that you did and the interactions we had with people in Nepean, there was a lot of support, definitely, for Pauline Hanson. People were very warm to her. We'll play some of those videos later. People were very openly, showing support for One Nation and Pauline Hanson in our short time there. But obviously the proof is in the pudding. So we'll see today just how much the power of Pauline Hanson carries through in Nepean. Obviously, Darren Hercus, the candidate that's running, he's also a local business owner. He was well kind of known in that area as well from what we saw when we were with him. And this is the thing. So One Nation candidates typically come from the community. They are not these established politicians. So the Liberal guy that's running for the Liberal Party, he's the mayor of Mornington. And what I've heard is he's disliked by the public, and potentially even in his own polling area, he's disliked. So there is this disconnect between perhaps the Liberal political class that usually runs these elections and the One Nation candidates that come up, who tend to be everyday people, small business owners, people who are more in tune with the community, perhaps, compared to the Liberal candidates. The last guy that won in this particular seat, Sam Groth, he was a popular tennis player, and he had a little bit of a profile as well. So that obviously helps. But Darren Hercus in this instance, doesn't come from that same type of profile background of people knowing exactly who he is. So if he has a really good result today, winning is obviously amazing. But even if he gets close and it's a tight race, it'll really give us an indication just how well One Nation is, looking to perform in Victoria come November for sure.
Totally. Look, I walking those streets with One Nation on those couple of days that we're there, I've got to say it's something that I wouldn't have imagined a few years ago, even just a few years ago, even in the last election, to see people so willingly, openly walking up and showing the love. There was a little bit of what you would expect, a couple of screams here and there, a couple of protesters crashing the press conference. But overall, the support was overwhelming. There was vast majority support. Will that translate in the polls today? That's the $1 million question. What are you predicting?
Look, the bookies are projecting that the Liberals are going to win. A lot of the media press coverage are predicting the Liberals are going to win. I'm personally hopeful for a One Nation coming from the behind and just nipping the Liberals at the very end there. I want to see a close result more than anything else, Avi. So obviously One Nation winning would be great, I think, for Victoria as just a bellwether, but I'd like to see a really, really tight race and a close result.
I want to see a tight race.
No, as in if it's a Liberal blowout, if the Liberals kind of come in and smash this for some reason, which I doubt, it would give a really bad indication of where this state is headed. Sure. The whole uni-party politics and everything that goes on between the Labor and the Liberal Party in Victoria, it's been a mess for a long time. So having that third party option in One Nation and having a strong showing, I think will really, put more confidence in Victoria instead of had enough of the uni party. There will be many critics. Benji's ready?
No, you confused me for a second because I thought you said you wanted a tight race. I didn't realize you just didn't want the Liberal Party wiping One Nation out. Personally, what I want to see is a wipeout of the Liberals. I want to see that orange wave. But like as you say, One Nation is coming into this one in this particular seat as the underdog.
Yeah, they're coming in as the underdog, and I mean that would be a remarkable story. Especially, there's a lot of excitement in the air. That's why there's this One Nation gathering as well for all the volunteers and members and supporters that we're covering today as well. And there is a momentum building for One Nation here in Victoria, which is great to see. They're very new to Victorian elections. The last time they ran was, I think, the last state election, and they got one through in Ricky Lee Terrell. I forgot the exact seat, but they're very new to Victoria, but they're already building a solid base and foundation of supporters.
Ricky, it wasn't. Yes, that's a lower house seat. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's upper the
Did she
from
win the Senate?
from
She won the House?
I think the Senate from memory. I don't know. Maybe it's a lower house. It's been a while since I looked at those figures.
Let's look it up.
You can look it up.
You can. Well, I'm just seeing where Benji is. I think he's just setting up the camera now in the after party thing. Welcome to everyone who's tuning in. So obviously the polls close. You've got the little ticker there on the side that's telling us in about 12 minutes the polls close. We'll start seeing those numbers. I imagine quickly coming through. We're going to watch a few videos from the campaign, especially in the 2 days that Pauline Hanson was there. Got some guests coming in tonight. Make sure to smash that like button, help the algorithm, especially as the night goes on and we see those results. Let's make this a big stream. Tonight's Rukshan's stream. For those of you that are being tuned in the entire time, as you know, I'm on dinner duties, so I'll be a viewer tonight, like many of you. But I will log in, especially if they win. I'm going to log in probably after a few. So it'll be well worth tuning in for that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think in terms of time, like obviously this is not a normal election night where there's a number of results coming in from different seats. The VEC and the people counting the results really have one job to do. So hopefully they can do that adequately in a quick and timely manner, and we should be wrapping up, fairly soon. And obviously we'll get some coverage of what's happening inside the One Nation after party as well. But I'd expect a pretty quick turnaround in terms of results, Avi, tonight.
He says he's got a now.
He's got a live now, is he? Okay, let's see if we can get that live stream coming into us.
Okay, so this is going to be probably an empty room for now. Are we seeing it? Let's see if Benji did his job. Benji had one job, a bit like the VEC, but like the VEC, I don't have much faith in Benji.
I'm not seeing anything yet. Let's have a look.
It's not coming through?
Not coming through yet. Maybe he just hit live.
Yeah, let me just mute me for a second. Go onto your screen and mute me for a second. I'll make the call.
Should we do the call live on it?
But yeah, let's call Benji.
Let's call Benji.
Yeah.
Benji, it doesn't seem like the live's coming through. Did you select the actual? You did it every.
After party, yeah.
It's on.
Like after party's on.
The after party's on, and you're definitely not getting something through there.
Network bonding is
on.
Yeah. Let me have a look again.
Otherwise, I'll send me a new link, and I'll put a new one in there, and I'll get him to start again. Maybe it's that old link that's not working.
Let's have a look.
Guys, you're working with us through the technical issues. Did you hit go live, Benji?
Yeah. I did that already. You want me to do it again? You want to close it?
No. 1 second. Let's see.
Let me check Benji. Oh yeah, it started to come through.
Oh, we've got it. We've got it all good, Benji. Well done. You did well. That was actually just John's fault.
See through the.
So,
can you see me? Can you see me?
1 second, Rukshan's in charge. I'm gonna hang this up, but Benji, you tune into the YouTube so you can hear what's going on, and when there's action, go straight to it.
Listen to YouTube.
I hung up on him. Are you seeing it?
It just started coming through, so I'll just try to get that onto our system and get that going. If you want to just keep people entertained, Navi, for a few minutes, I'll.
As you know, we've got about 8 minutes till polls close. This is the Nepean by-election to replace Sam Groth, who was the deputy premier till the deputy opposition leader, sorry, whatever it was called, prior to all the backstabbing in the Liberal Party. He quit the by-election 6 months out from the actual election. So this is a by-election for a seat that is going to the Sydney Nepean. which whoever wins has it for the next 6 months. The real two contestants here, according to the polls, are the Liberal Party and One Nation. The Liberal Party are projected to hold that seat. So One Nation is coming in on this as the underdog that we are all rooting for and cheering for. But either way, we want to know where One Nation is really sitting in polling in Victoria. Because one thing is polling doesn't always tell you the truth. South Australia, it was proven to be true. In fact, I think the polling wasn't even showing how well they really did on the ground. So if that's true here, that means One Nation might well and truly take this seat. But if the polling got it wrong, then potentially there is no hope for Victoria. But I am feeling hopeful. It's the beginning of the night. Put this on your screen, and you're going to have some interviews. Going to watch back some of the videos until it does, and we're going to have that live stream any second. I think Rukshan, I don't know what technical issues Rukshan's having there, but it seems like something. The problem I have is when I have the technical issues, Rukshan is the one I call to sort it out. Hope you're all having a good Saturday. Is today Saturday? Saturday. Yes, a Saturday evening. Hopefully when I touch back with you guys later on in the night, that it's after a few drinks and with some happy news. That's amazing.
There we go. It's coming through. Good work, Benji. We can hear you, Benji.
Amazing.
So, guys, that's the room that we're going to get from the One Nation gathering that we'll be bringing tonight as well. And Benji can obviously move the camera around as well.
I feel like we're missing out. That looks fantastic.
Yeah.
It looks better than the other event that we did the other night.
It looks like it's going to be a good night. And I believe there's about 250 people coming as well, Avi. Is that correct? Or?
Booked out. Sold out in 3 hours. There's Benji. Look at Benji, everyone. Everyone give Benji a thumbs up. And he can hear himself. He's really impressed with the fact that you can see himself. It's so funny for somebody that actually made the technology. He's so excited by it.
What's he wearing? He's in his active wear.
He's gone dressed for the occasion. Kids there already. Rukshan, I think I'm going to leave you to it for a bit. Maybe keep a shot of that on screen while watching some of the videos in the lead up as the polls can't close.
Yeah.
And as
just give me 2 minutes. I'll just flip the screen on, and then I'll let you leave. Just give me 2 minutes.
The first live stream that we're doing where Rukshan is completely in charge. Very exciting. That event starts in about an hour and a half. But the polling numbers, we should have a good idea. It's going to be interesting because we should have an idea of whether what it looks like if they are going to win when that actually starts. So possibly, I don't know how long it's going to take them to count it, but I imagine within a couple of hours we'll know. So we'll be able to feel the vibe. It'll either start on a really happy note, or people, who knows?
Yeah, for sure.
We'll all be on my TV at this dinner that I am hosting. That's why I'm not allowed to.
You're free to go, Avi. I think guys, you can see the room. Obviously, people aren't really get there yet. There's still a lot of time. The polls are closing. A lot of the volunteers would still be working there, finishing up, and they'll be heading to this particular venue at a certain time. So we'll bring you that when that's happening. But for now, Avi, thank you for your time with us. We're going to show the audience some of the work that you've been doing in Nepean to fill in the time.
Keep the room always on screen so people can see that's
I'll sort that out while your video is playing. So see you soon. Hop back in later.
Thanks for doing tonight.
Thanks, mate. All right, guys. So as I was saying, let's have a look at some of the work that Avi Yemeni's been doing in Nepean as the polls are just about to close. We'll start getting numbers in, and as soon as those numbers start coming in, I'll bring them up on screen. I do have the ability to bring some of that data thanks to our very own publicly funded ABC. I have no shame in taking the data from the ABC and also from the VEC, data from the Victorian Electoral Commission coming through as well. So we'll have the results as they come in, For now, we're just going to look at a few news stories that Avi's covered in that region. So just so you can get a bit of an idea of the mood of the people as we wait for the results. And then we'll be joined by Topher Field at some point. And hopefully Avi jumps back in, and then we'll switch to Benji at the location, and we can hear from some of the One Nation volunteers, some of the One Nation team here in Victoria, if they want to speak on camera, and bring you that coverage as well. So for now, guys, bear with me. I want to bring you some of Avi's work from Nepean. So let's just get that on screen. Go. Let's just get the audio through for that as well.
This is like a circus.
Are you calling me a monkey?
I would dare do that. I don't need the publicity, thank you. Oh, don't do that to me.
Listen, I'm going to say out of all politicians, I find Pauline the best banter because she just rolls with it. Some of them are too precious. Sometimes I talk to politicians and they're just way too precious. They take themselves too seriously.
Mate, you don't get to my age and then be precious.
This weekend, voters in Nepean will decide whether One Nation can take over what's traditionally been a safe Liberal seat in a by-election. And if this street walk with Pauline Hanson in Rye is anything to go by, we might just be getting a preview taste of what the November state election could look like. How's the weather, Pauline? You enjoying Melbourne's weather?
No.
You've got to pretend like you like it.
Why?
For votes.
I don't know how to pretend.
So where are we going?
We're just going to walk and see some small businesses, some people, see how it goes. Anyway.
Hey guys.
Hi guys, hello. How are you? Thank you, how are you? Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Good. How are you been? Busy today?
Bit quiet.
Bit quiet?
Turning into our off season, but we still make it do.
Yeah.
Good.
No, very good.
Are you guys voting age?
Yes, I am.
Who are you going to vote for?
One Nation.
Why is that?
I just like the way she presents things, you know, sick of the Liberal and the Labor debates. It's full of crap at this moment.
I think it's fantastic from the young generation, but I'd like to ask you, what do you think of the problems with your age bracket moving forward?
Oh, the housing crisis, like fuel prices going up. Like I'm 22 now and I'm still living at home. I want to be able to move out, start a family one day. At the moment, I can't because prices for housing is ridiculous.
Even renting?
Even renting is ridiculous.
Does it surprise you? 22, so quick to say she's voting for One Nation?
Yeah, no, because I'm hearing it more and more, and it's surprising enough. Doesn't matter where I've gone to, the Cedar Farrer, Albury, I'll get it in Brisbane. No matter where I go, a lot of the young ones are actually now changing their opinion, and they want change. They're really concerned about the way the country's going. They don't see a future for them.
What do you think was the turning point for that? Have you noticed something that caused that change, that suddenly the younger generation, because only a few years ago they were all at that age, the Greens?
True. I know. I'm constantly asking myself that. Why is the reason? I think because the high immigration levels that we've had come into the country, and of course then they can't get the rental accommodations, they can't get out of living with their parents, they want change. A lot of them worried about their jobs, future, owning a house, and I think living with their parents too, the parents are starting to realise how hard it is for them, and their kids are starting to take note of what's happening to their parents.
Are you happy to get the coverage that you get from Rebel Media? You're getting good coverage from him.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Is it?
I feel like that was.
You can do
I feel like that
No,
was
no,
a
we
dig.
do too.
You can do the same. Do you make this yourself?
Most of them, yes.
Good on you.
Otherwise, the rest are made in our warehouse in Melbourne.
I make my own ice cream at home.
Isn't that great?
Mulberry.
At
Yep.
least you know what's in it.
Will you tell us why they got your vote?
Why? Because I believe in Pauline. Actually, today I did my postal vote, And I voted for Pauline. Yes, I did.
Do you know the candidate?
No, I don't.
I'm Darren.
Hi, Darren. Diane.
Diane, nice to meet you, Diane.
Same here.
So you voted for him without knowing him?
Yep. It's just that I believe in what they're aiming for, yep.
But most of the candidates out there don't even know who their candidate is. Most of the voters don't know who they are.
Yeah,
So they follow either the party or they follow the policies.
The colour.
Correct, they do. But I think Diane has watched me for years and see my stance on many issues that resonates with the people, and they want that in this state. They want, people asking questions. They want accountability. They want to know, what's happening in the future. They want vision for the future, for the state.
Have you previously voted Liberal in other ones, or you've always voted?
No, I haven't. Am I allowed to say?
Yeah. What, down a donkey one?
I have before. Yes. I'm sure most of us have.
What are you doing to try and raise Darren's profile, though?
She's here.
Is being with you enough? Is being with Pauline enough to raise her profile?
Oh, look, it certainly she brings a lot of clout to the table for sure. I mean, people love her and respect her, and she's standing up for Australians. I think it's amazing woman.
And I'm supporting Darren. And it's my way of saying thank you for being a candidate for One Nation in this critical by-election that we have leading up to the big election at the end of this year. So it's about working together.
Pauline, thank you for all your work you've done and speaking up for real Australians.
Never ceases to surprise me how vigorously people want to show their respect for Senator Pauline Hanson when we get her in Victoria. Strangers in the street coming up and throwing their arms around her. It's just incredible, mate.
You're here to see Pauline? You want to say hi?
We
Yeah,
want
it'd
to
be
say
great.
hi, yeah.
We
I've followed
support
her for like 30 years, so...
Yeah.
Do you ever believe you'd get this kind of reception in Victoria?
You asked me that question 30 years ago, no. It was a hot spot for One Nation. And, it was a lot of people did want to support me, come to the meetings, that type of thing, but there was so much aggression. There was violence, and I was to have a meeting at Hawthorne. A lot of people reminded me I turned up to that Hawthorne meeting years ago and couldn't get in. The protesters outside. So anyway, hi, hello, come and say.
It's by height, so it doesn't pick.
Hello, g'day. I'm very well, thank you. Hope you don't mind. We're going to say hello. How are you?
Good, how are you?
So, this is Darren. He's my candidate for the seat of Nepean. So he's running this election, which is very important.
Yep.
So it's very important that if we can win this seat, then we can get a voice on the floor of Parliament for the next 6 months and start calling for accountability and raising the issues, and hopefully at the state election, November, then push more for One Nation. As a small business person, what's your biggest concerns, Giovanni?
Oh, just the cost of living is probably the biggest concern, and the price of produce, and just the overall costing of everything. Really, that's
Government taxes, regulations.
that's hurting us.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. Small business, it's hard to make a living as it is, let alone trying to pay all the taxes, pay all our insurances, pay everything. It's just really difficult.
Is it state government taxes or it's local government? Or
State.
Mainly state.
Mainly state.
That's our business. We've spoken to quite a few people that are actually going to go under with their businesses. They've had enough. I hope you're not one of those.
No, we're a family-owned business, so it's me and my wife literally run a business. So it's difficult. It is. It's really hard to make ends meet. We've got to literally work 14, 16-hour days to try to make ends meet and try to, and that's what's making it really hard.
I know. I've been there myself. I've had to do those long hours myself because I didn't have the money to pay for staff and wages. Until you build up the business, then you've got the turnover to do it. And then it's finding the right people that can do the job and put the work and effort
Exactly
in.
what Pauline, with the way it is, the way our industry is.
Have you decided who you're voting for in this by-election?
No, not as of yet, but I think we'll be definitely, looking at a change. Definitely looking for a change, and Pauline, you're our choice for a good change, I think.
Well, I'm true to my word. I tell you what, I'll be pushing back on a lot of things.
I know you are.
I don't hold back.
No, I know that, and that's what.
What you get.
Absolutely, and that's what we like.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pauline.
Most importantly, what's better, souvlaki or fish and chips? I just got assaulted by Pauline Hanson in the souvlaki shop, caught on camera.
Did you catch the assault?
How are you?
Hello.
Nice to see you. Very nice to see you.
Thank you very much.
I've been helping you. You wouldn't realise, right? In this area, there's about 20 local pages, Rosebud local, Rye local, all of them. So they've got between like 17,000, 8,000 people on them. For the last 2 weeks, I've been sharing everything for you. So it's been, you should
lovely.
see the
Thank
response.
you.
So
What have you been doing?
I paint, I've got my own business. I paint the roads, like shopping centres,
yeah?
car
Okay.
parks, school playgrounds. But I live here locally. I went to Maroochydore High School, so I am a Queenslander, but now I live down at Rye.
Nice to see you.
Could I get a picture with you? Would that be all right? How do we do this? Can you take it? Yeah.
We're big fans. We're all going to vote One Nation. I'm going here, mate. Darren.
Yeah. No, appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're going to do really well next election.
For change. It's change for the
100%
people.
positive change.
All right, thank you.
We know who you are, Pauline, don't worry. We've been long life supporters of you for a very long time.
Do you know Darren?
No, I don't, Darren. G'day, Darren. How are you?
How you going?
Steve, buddy? Yeah, likewise.
Are you guys local?
Yes, we are.
Love.
Yeah.
Construction industry, so he's got his own business, but he's standing here for the by-election.
Fantastic.
Coming up 2nd May. Anyway.
Go One Nation, that's all I can say. We're behind you 100%. Good on you.
Do you think they're going to win as a local?
I hope so. I really do. I really do hope they're going to win. Absolutely.
And you say you've been lifelong supporters of One Nation. Do you feel vindicated now that that there seems to be a massive surge? So 20 or 30% of Victorians are now agreeing with you.
Well, we're glad that everyone's jumped on board. And we're sort of saying, well, I told you so, and it's finally happening, yes.
Are you sick of saying I told you so?
Absolutely.
Are you going to be sick of winning?
No, not at all.
I'm not sick of saying I'm told you so. No, it's good. These couple here have had their eyes wide open. The other ones have been kittens all this time, so they've finally got their eyes open.
You know, I lived in China for a few years there.
You still do, mate. Sorry to break it to you.
You know, and there's no way that things would be passed there that are happening here. It's just not the case, you know. And I'm second generation Italian, so, you know, as a migrant family, you know, we suffered the trials and tribulations of immigration and stuff like that, but the floodgates have been open and it's just not good for our country. You know, I'm a high school teacher and 99% of my students are Indian, and a lot of them are even telling me they're opening up, we're rorting the system. I'm like, they are telling me this. These students are fully aware of what's happening and how their families are coming here and whatnot. And it's a bit sad when you're looking for businesses and it says on the advertisement, this business will help you get your visa. You know, I mean, that's just not right. I don't agree with it, you know.
I think anybody, like, if you're going to contribute to our society and you bring value. Like, I don't have a problem with anybody,
No.
but it's so out of balance.
Can I get a photo with you? Is that all right?
You a fan? Will you vote for it?
I'm still deciding.
And what will make up your mind? Whether she took a photo or not?
Yeah, that's it. Who's got it? Who knows?
Honey, you don't have to answer them. You say no comment.
No,
That's
yeah.
it.
There you go. Pauline Hanson giving the public media training here on the streets of Rye. Something you don't see any other candidate or political leader do.
I can't help myself. I try and help people where I can.
If you enjoyed this report, make sure to like, comment, but most importantly, share it far and wide, because yes, there were mainstream media journalists around, but the last thing they'll do is humanise Pauline Hanson by showing what she's truly like. So it's up to you guys at home. And then if you support our mission on the streets of Melbourne, please consider chipping in at protectavi.com or by scanning this QR code, because we can't do this kind of work without a security guard. We had a great guy on the day, but we need your support. We need your help to fund those costs. So protectavi.com or scan that QR code right now.
All right, guys. Well, that was Avi covering in Rye when we were following around One Nation as they were campaigning for Darren Hercus. So interesting views there from the public. A lot of support, as you can see from that particular video that we played. And this is something that I witnessed firsthand as Pauline Hanson was going around that electorate. So if you're just joining in, we're bringing you live coverage of the Nepean by-election that's happening in Victoria. You can see that little camera in the corner to my right or to my left. I guess depends on which way I'm looking at things. but that is from the One Nation after party that's going to be taking place. Regardless of the result, the One Nation candidate, as well as volunteers and other members and supporters of One Nation will be gathering, and we'll bring you live coverage of that and hopefully hear from some of the people in the crowd, as well as people from One Nation and hopefully maybe even the candidate himself. So that will be happening. It's starting a little bit later on. Obviously, the polls just closed at 6 p.m. and the process of counting begins. I've got a first preferences there with the results when they do come in from the VEC. This one is particularly from the ABC, our publicly funded broadcaster, so no shame in using their results, but we will get them from the VEC as well and ensure we're giving you accurate information as the night progresses. So this is a by-election here in Victoria, the state election, and the counting should be fairly quick as there's nothing else for the VEC to do but just get this particular election result correct. We did see some fumbles from the Adelaide or the South Australian Electoral Commission when they had to recount they found multiple boxes and they had to even recount a particular seat where One Nation had won. So we're always keeping an eye on these people that are involved in running our elections because they seem to be getting things wrong, even as we've advanced so much in our time and age with the abilities to properly do this type of election counting. Now, what we'll do is, in the meantime, while we're waiting for these results to come in, I do want to get to some of the super chats as well. I know there's about 6 of you that have contributed super chats, so let's have a look at the super chats and we'll have a chat about any particular points that you guys have. This is from Anthony, one of our supporters that always jumps in with this particular comment. Let's find a nice place on the screen for the comments because there's a lot going on today, unlike our regular shows. Let's put it here. I think this is good. Anthony is blaming Donald Trump. He is saying this in jest, guys. Every show that we do, he blames Trump. Just like the left, everything is Trump's fault. Of course, if Darren Herkes here for One Nation ends up winning, I'm sure the left would blame Donald Trump here in Australia. So that's how insane this is. We got a super chat here from Cruel Intentions. Thank you for the super chat. Evening, boys. Thanks for covering this. Let's go One Nation. And thanks also to all the haters here boosting the algorithm. I agree. Thank you, everyone, for joining in, even those trolls that love to jump in the comments and say things that no one really cares about. We got here from Rick Down Under. Wait for it. Words with a clock as the A. Bit of mystery there, Rick. Maybe I didn't understand exactly what you're saying. Okay. A rainbow clapperboard with the words behind the scenes. You are putting through super chats with emojis that don't translate that well into this particular format when we play it on our screen. But thank you for the super chat and thank you for the support. We appreciate it. Shameful Music says, love the media backlash on the Free Palestine Victoria Party. Do you think the law will change now or will they do a ban Islam party in response? Very interesting. This is, of course, not related to One Nation because this is Avi's political party. So Avi is actually a leader of a political party. I believe he's just filled in his forms and sent them over to the VEC because they have the numbers for the Free Palestine Party, which will be running in the coming up November election here in Victoria. And this has caused great controversy, great debate, as all the media, all the political pundits and the elite political class of the left especially have lost their minds around what Avi and others are doing by taking part in the process of democracy. And in this instance, the Free Palestine Party, which is a worthy cause to free Palestine from Hamas. Avi is someone who is willing to put his name out there and fight for this cause for Victorians. And in the same breath, it's also exposing the issues with the group voting ticket here in Victoria. So as the super chatter said there, it could potentially lead to change in the system. So Avi could be a reformer of the Victorian electoral system if they do panic and, push through a change to get rid of parties like the Free Palestine Party. It'll be interesting times ahead. I'm sure Avi will have plenty more to say about it. And I've even heard about other parties coming up in the work. So you might be onto something there about other parties. There's already a Save the Environment Party as well. We've got a super chat here from Murray, from the Murray to the sea. Thanks for the super chat, Virtual IR. I appreciate that. Don't give people ideas. Then we got one here from the Oder Churchill 4020. The other Churchill 4020. I'm hoping Liberal only because I put money on it. Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. And I think the odds are in your favor as far as the bookies are concerned at the moment. But stranger things have happened, and we are in a very different time politically where more people are resonating with One Nation. And that's why there's so much interest in this by-election to begin with, because of the surge of support that has come One Nation's way. We've got a super chat here from Rick Aussie. World elites have Albo and Australia by the nuts. It's all a stage. Long live Alex Jones and Pauline Hanson's One Nation member. You're a Pauline Hanson One Nation member. And long live Alex Jones. So Alex Jones is interesting. InfoWars, it was his last show just the other day on InfoWars proper. It's now the Alex Jones Network. If anyone is wondering where you can find Alex Jones, he's on the Alex Jones Network. But yeah, I agree with some of your sentiment there, mate. Thank you for the contribution and thank you for the super chat. We got one here from Darren Keita 698. Lemon character holding his hands with gratitude on his face. Thank you for the super chat emoji sticker. We appreciate it. And one more for now, guys, before we keep going on, and I'll check in for any results as well. I don't think anything has come in. Let me just refresh this. No. We got one here from the real Eric Alistair. The left keeps misgendering the phrase Orange Man bad. Been a while since I super chatted. Awesome work you guys are doing. Mate, we know who you are. Thanks for joining back in on the streams. Appreciate it. And chat, super chat here from Bravo Mike. Is this Avi Mandering? I'm not sure what Avi Mandering means, but if you're wondering if Avi's been replaced by the DEI, you're correct. This is eventually what happens. So Avi's been transformed into someone that looks like me. So this is the future for Avi. Guys, thank you for the super chats. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate you guys joining in tonight. As you can see, the room there is still not much action happening there. Let's just have a closer look at what's going on in that room. Hopefully Benji's listening to the stream so he can give us a bit more of a camera. Benji, if you're listening to the stream, move the camera around a little bit. Give us a little bit of a view of where the One Nation event is taking place. We will be crossing to this later on. So let's have a look at the room. It's got a full view. So as you can see there, guys, we got Benji to give us a bit of a pan around of the room, and people are still making their way into this One Nation after party event. What we can maybe do is, if you have any questions that you want to put to the people that are here, that Benji can ask them later on as the room does fill up. You can put them in the super chat, and we can put that to Benji to ask people, and we'll see how he goes. You can see a lot of volunteers already have come to the room, and that's one thing that One Nation is finding throughout many of the states. South Australia, this was the case. Also in Victoria, I saw it firsthand in Nepean. There is a lot of enthusiasm, therefore they have a lot of volunteers now. So, and that's what you need, even for a minor party. You need to have volunteers. You need to have people on the ground doing the work, doing the letterbox drops at the polling stations, at the polling booths, handing out how to vote cards, whatever it is. If you have more people working for your party, running around, volunteering, doing this type of, very crucial public-facing work, I think it makes a massive difference. Obviously, the media helps and the marketing helps. Pauline Hanson herself is a marketing engine. Like, you can just get a snippet of her and most of the media will want to run her story. There is a phenomena that happens around Pauline Hanson's, much similar to a Donald Trump. They want to know her view on a particular issue, and that transfers over to candidates, even in Victoria. So we're seeing a little bit of that happening. We've got a super chat here, if I can bring it up, from, let's just make it smaller. Do you have access to the scrutiny data? So we're just getting data from the VEC, as well as the mainstream networks and the ABC. Thanks for the super chat. Benji, we've got to get the camera straight, mate. Yeah, and there is a slight delay, Benji, between the stream coming through to us. So this is the beauty of technology, guys. We can sit in a studio and bring you coverage like this, which is great. At the same time, we can bring in the data that we're seeing, the results that are coming in, as well as the guests and some analysis as well. And I know a lot of mainstream media does this, and sometimes the ABC does it. This particular time, I don't think the ABC is doing this. But the great thing about what we're trying to do here, myself with Rebel News and Avi, Benji, who's out there on the field, bringing in your comments, bringing in the conversation, making everyone else a part of it as well, because politics impacts us all. And one of the great things about doing media this way, not legacy media, but the new form of media that we're engaged in, is that there is this connection that we have. And it's great getting your super chats through. And I think that will keep people very much informed on different views from the public just by reading the comments, as well as entertained, because it does tend to be quite funny, some of the things that people are saying. So in that regard, I think this is the new way that we should be covering elections going forward. And this is the first time that we're doing this, Avi and myself and Benji with Rebel News. And I think it'll be something we do forward into other elections coming up as well, because I think it'll be really interesting to do it that way. Now, while we're waiting, so you can see we're still waiting, I do have another video from Avi in Nepean that we'll play. But we will check the news. Let's check the news. Let's see what the news is saying, and let's see what X is saying about the Nepean by-election. So let me jump to X and hear what people are talking about on Nepean. Yep, no results yet. Oh, look, watch our live stream. That's good. It's all there. Thank you for those sharing the link. We appreciate it. Stephen here says, with no signs at all, I'm tipping Libs to win Nepean 57-43, two-party preferred over One Nation. Thanks to preferences from the Greens and other candidates, One Nation may lead on primaries. That is a real possibility. So One Nation might win the primary. Let's see. Results on ABC. Let's have a look. No results have come in yet. So actually, let's have a look at the candidates. Who's running? That will be interesting to see. So many of you might not know, but this is the past results for the Nepean electorate. So since 2002, it's been held by Liberals, 2006 Liberals, 2010 Liberals, 2014 Liberals, 2018 Labor Party picked it up, and then 2022 Sam Groth picked it up again for the Liberal Party. So this is the reason the election is happening. The by-election is Sam Groth resigned and left the Liberal Party. There was a bit of tension between himself and the party. There was some media scrutiny over some of the things that he was involved in that he wasn't happy about, and so on. But let's have a look at who is running for the Liberal Party. Anthony Marsh. Marsh is the mayor of Mornington Peninsula Shire and was elected to the council as an independent at the 2020 local government election. Marsh has previously said he would not run for parliament, but he is doing so to the performance of the state, doing so due to the performance of the state Labor government. Before entering local government, he was a commissioned officer in the Air Force. He also owns a small business that develops a drone safety app. One Nation candidate is Darren Herkus. Hercus is a civil engineer and owns a joist and truss manufacturing business in Dramana. He says he's a former Liberal voter and cites pressures on his businesses such as increased land tax, workers' compensation and rates bills, and his motivation to join One Nation. So these are the two guys that are really up against each other, Anthony Marsh and Hercus. You can tell Darren Hercus there is just an ordinary dude that runs a business. Anthony Marsh is someone that's been involved in politics for a while, if he is the mayor of Mornington there. There is also an independent, Tracy Hutchinson. So Hutchinson has worked in the media since the early 1980s as a broadcaster, journalist, and producer, including roles in Triple J, the ABC, Channel 7, Channel 9, and a community radio station on the Mornington Peninsula. She gets a big write-up. Did she work at the ABC, Tracy Hutchinson? Look at the write-up that Tracy Hutchinson gets regardless of the two main people, the independent Hutchinson, who might get some votes her way as well. ABC's given her a major write-up, the former ABC journalist. There you go. I won't read all the ABC propaganda there. And then we've got Peter Angelico, a libertarian. Angelico is the former founder and managing director of a Dandenong manufacturing firm and has more than 30 years of industry experience. He is also the president of the South East Melbourne Manufacturers Alliance and was named Corporate Citizen of the Year by City of Greater Dandenong. Angelico was a long-term Liberal member who left the party last year. Many such cases. The Libertarians have been great in Victoria. David Limbrick has, and I think Tim Quilty, when he was a representative, have been great advocates for many, civil liberty fights here in Victoria. Most notably during COVID, the Libertarians really got out there in the public. At this present moment, One Nation, just because of the buzz around One Nation, and particularly based around the results we're seeing for One Nation around the country and what happened in South Australia, there is a lot more enthusiasm amongst the public as well as in terms of media coverage. So the Libertarians aren't really getting a lot of that coverage that they might have in the past. It's One Nation has really come into that territory and potentially stealing some of their thunder as well. Then we have Sienna Haley for the Greens. Haley works in healthcare advocacy and manages the evidence and capacity building team at Women's Health Victoria. Prior to that, she was a qualitative researcher investigating experiences for infertility and fertility treatment. She holds a PhD in history from the University of Melbourne. So well educated, but she's a member of the Greens. Take that how you will. But yeah, for now, guys, there's no election results have actually come in. Even though the polls have closed, the counting has begun. I will check also the Victorian, the Electoral Commission provisional results. Let's have a look what there is. Nothing at the moment. So no results to speak of. We will go back to the this is the party room, so we will bring you that later as well. As you can see, there's a bit more action there now. More people have gathered. I can see there, we can see Warren Pickering, the state leader of the One Nation Party, holding a picture board. So they're all gathering there at the moment. I'm trying to make this as interesting as I can for you guys. But you know what would make it interesting for now as we wait for the results? Watching Avi Yemeni. We will go to a video of Avi's from the last time we were at a One Nation event in Nepean. And this was interesting because one of the things that we've really seen is a lot of Liberal Party members switch up to One Nation. And even former Liberal Party candidates now running as One Nation candidates. There is a real shift happening. So the members are leaving the Liberal Party and joining One Nation. And the former candidates who once ran for Liberal are now running for One Nation. And we have one story that Avi covered similar to that, which I'll play for you now as soon as I find it. In the meantime, guys, you can keep chatting away there in the conversation. And if you leave any super chats, we will bring that those comments up on screen as well at some point. All right, let's have a look at this video.
even the very candidate they put up against Daniel Andrews in Victoria has now walked away to join One Nation. How does it feel that he was actually the candidate for the Liberal Party running against Daniel Andrews in the last election, and now he's here with One Nation, repping your T-shirt and promoting One Nation?
Isn't it fantastic? So people do wake up. They were kittens then, now they're cats, and they've opened up their eyes and they know what's going on.
While I was covering Pauline Hanson's meet and greet in Rosebud for Rebel News ahead of the by-election, what actually stood out to me more wasn't just the crowd. It was how many current and former Liberal members were there in the room. What did you say?
We support Israel.
You support Israel? Why do you support Israel?
Because they are copying it from every side, and he's doing an amazing job there, Prime Minister.
We've got a radical over here.
My word.
How long have you been with One Nation?
I'm not with them yet, I'm about to be.
You're joining One Nation.
12 of us are.
Where did you come from? Are you? Were you part of another political party?
Yes.
Who?
Same as this lady.
You were in the Liberal Party. And you've quit.
We're quitting.
Contrary to the major parties thinking we're stealing the Liberal voter base and the Labor voter base, yeah, that's occurring, absolutely. Most of the quadrupling of our membership in Victoria in the last 12 months is from people that have disenfranchised, have never engaged in the political sphere before. That's amazing.
Well, it has been interesting to walk around. I hear what you're saying, but I have seen a bunch of former Liberal Party members and even Liberal Party members. I'm outing her here now live. And
Don't you put this on air?
She's now joined. I've heard from a bunch of former Liberal Party members, even a candidate that ran against Dan Andrews for the Liberal Party has now joined One Nation. Why? Why has it changed?
11 of us are moving to One Nation on Monday.
Wow.
See that?
So this is the thing. People are starting to realise that far from the rights, the right-wing extremist party, the mainstream media's previously propagandised One Nation party to be, people now had a gutful. They're actively researching what One Nation policies are about and these things, and they're realising that One Nation is actually the last bastion of true conservatism in this country and the only party capable of being the catalyst for change that we desperately need. That's what's getting people on board.
We are holding up the boat right across the whole nation, and I believe that we can do it. Please consider seriously to give us a go. Give us a go to give us a chance to represent you. That's what I'm asking. You can't do any worse than what you've got now. So that's what it's about. So go and put the message out there to family, friends, everyone that you know. Give One Nation a go. So thank you very much.
Are you seeing a lot of people from the Liberal Party moving over to One Nation?
They are.
Why?
Because they're not listening to the membership. That's what. The Liberal Party have a lot of very good people. I'm not saying they're all like that. It's just the management need an overhaul.
What was the final straw for you to move from Liberal Party to One Nation?
They just lost their direction. So even at a SEC, FEC kind of base level, like they just lost their way. They were just treating their members like just numbers.
Look, I have many friends in the Liberal Party, but unfortunately, they've lost their way. The only way now is to vote One Nation.
What may have started as a protest vote originally is now people realising One Nation is the party of common sense. One Nation is solution-oriented. One Nation is not going to engage in tit-for-tat smear campaigns. We're just going to get on with the job with delivering outcomes, and that's what we're here for, and that's what people are getting on board for, mate.
I love it.
We've got amazing politicians in the Liberal Party, and even they're not getting the right treatment, so we're going.
How long have you been a Liberal Party member?
12 years.
How's that possible when you're 21? You didn't... Federally, we're seeing them steal the policies of One Nation. Do you think the Victorian Liberal Party are going to do the same, or... And are you worried about that? Do you think they're going to be able to steal some of your new voters?
Look, so in the short term, we are playing our cards close to our chest. What we've done in Victoria, so our primary objective is obviously to oust this dangerous state Labor government, and we will do whatever it takes to achieve that. Now, in gaining the trust of Victorians, because most people don't realise 2022 was our first state election in Victoria, right? So we've got a 100% success rate in Victoria because we got regularly elected to Northern Victoria at the time. We intend to leverage that success. Now, we've developed a comprehensive policy document to deliver for Victorians about 14 primary policies that we aim to address to prove to Victorians that we can not only form the balance of power, but that we can govern in our own right.
It's about time we use common sense. We go back to the fundamentals and we just look after our own, look after our country. Stop the bullshit, basically.
I was at the country club earlier and a bunch of people I saw there were saying that they were all previously Liberal voters, but they are voting for One Nation in this by-election. Do you think there's a massive shift here, even in this electorate?
Yes, I think so. I think there are a lot of disillusioned ex-Liberal voters. Also, because of their candidate pick was probably not the best choice with his connection and preference of the Liberal Party. And that's the problem with the Liberal Party, right? They've lost their way. They're not the Conservative Party that they're supposed to be, and that reflects in their choice of candidates as well. So, and that's why I think that's another reason why Darren has been getting so much support.
A lot of them are disappointed that with the factional infighting and the divisiveness and the lack of direction and the lack of policy and the leadership change. And I think, having Sam Groth walk from his seat, that seemed to be the straw that broke the camel back for a lot of people. I was once a Liberal voter myself, only 12 months ago. So that's...
12 months ago you voted for the Liberal Party and today you're running for One Nation.
Correct, yeah. Or the last federal election, whatever it was. So that's right. I've become disillusioned with the Liberal Party myself at the time. So
I think we'll get a lot more people on side once we do deliver that policy document. We're not scared about other parties stealing our policy. It's not ideal why we intend to campaign on them, but in the short term, we'll play them close to our chest and we'll trickle feed them to media to garner maximum attention over the coming months. Look, as with everything, there's a lot of pressure at the moment and we don't want to curtail our supporters' enthusiasm. There's a lot of pressure for us to get candidates endorsed and to get policies out there and get actively campaigning. But we are not going to pull the trigger early, mate. We are going to do our due diligence and we're going to make sure we get this right. But look, if we fail to secure government and every other party steals our policies, fill your boots. There's no need for us to be here then, is there? That'd be great.
I decided I wanted to be in a party that stuck together, that looked after each other and protected each other. So a lot of the Liberals have jumped. I think their numbers have declined dramatically. Same with Labor. A lot of people that I speak to are all about One Nation now. And I believe personally that One Nation will take over Victoria. 100%.
All right, from your mouth to God's ears. Love to see you here, mate. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, but most importantly, share it far and wide. Then head to followravi.com or scan this QR code on your screen to join the mailing list and to follow me across all platforms so you don't miss the next video in Pauline's special visit to Melbourne. Scan now.
All right, guys, that was a great video again. It really shows you what the mood of Victoria is when it comes to previous Liberal voters or previous Liberal candidates. They are now shifting over to One Nation. We are seeing this more and more. We saw this in South Australia. Now we're seeing this in Victoria. And, the question is, come November, come the state election in November, the main election, the main event, how much that will resonate and how much the success One Nation will have through this. So we're going to try to get some interviews from inside the after party as well. If you can see, if I switch to the footage here, the live stream, I shouldn't call it footage, the live stream. We are coming to you from the One Nation after party there. We're going to try to get the state leader there, Warren Pickering for One Nation, to call in for an interview. We're just organizing that. Hopefully we can get him on and ask him about how things progressed over the last couple of weeks at the Nepean by-election and what they felt today at the polling booths and what they think of their chances as well. The results are yet to come in from any of the sources. I've checked the VEC as well as the ABC. and I haven't seen any results come in. I will check your super chats and maybe catch up on that as well while we're waiting. Let me just cut the audio from the gathering. We don't. Oh yeah, I'm getting a call here. Let's have a look. Benji is joining. All right, maybe we're going to get. Let's have a look. Oh, Benji. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You want? Don't you want to use the widescreen, Roxanne? Can you hear me?
I don't mind. Whatever's fine.
All right.
Whatever.
Hey, Warren. How you doing, mate?
You can use my phone instead.
Can you hear me, Warren?
Yeah, I can hear you all right, mate.
That's good. Let's just try to fix your audio. It's still a little bit soft. Benji, maybe give your other headphone to Warren as well.
Oh, that's better. Now I can't hear the room around me. Much better, mate.
Nah, we can hear you good now. Thanks for joining in, Warren. Just wanted to, obviously you're having the after party there, but there's been a lot of hard work done over the last couple of weeks to get to this point. How are you feeling today as a state leader of One Nation? What do you think of your chances there in Nepean?
Oh, look, if you had have asked me 15 minutes ago, I would have said I felt elated and like we were going to get very close to hearing a good result tonight. However, I believe the campaign manager on the ground said to me that the VEC have rang him and said in all their infinite wisdom they've decided to go with a two-party preferred count with the Independent and the Liberals for tonight, which we think is outrageous, but it is what it is, and they whatever metrics they use to make those decisions, that's fine, but I think it just means we won't have a result tonight. We weren't anticipating one tonight anyway, but it would have been nice to know where we sat in a two-party preferred or a three-party preferred. So, look, from that perspective, it's a little deflating. But, look, it's not going to dampen our spirits too much, mate. We are here to celebrate a great campaign. Darren and the team run a good, clean campaign, and there was a lot of people involved. And, look, this was always an opportunity to test a few of the new procedures that we've implemented in the last couple of years that we wanted to really test, and now we don't have to wait for the state election to do that. So we're able to do that. We'll do a bit of an after-action review with fix, sustain, improve, what worked, what didn't work and whatnot. So that's an easy one for us. Easy win, sorry. But also we wanted to provide the people of Nepean with a genuine Conservative option. So that's also a success in our mind because the blue team failed to do that, obviously. So look, I think there's a lot to celebrate. There's a lot of successes here. There's a lot of room for improvement. But mate, yeah, it's so heartwarming for us to actually have gotten to a point where we have every booth manned every day, big numbers everywhere. That's something we've never seen, and that's a testament not only to the recent popularity of the party, but also the visibility we've been able to provide for the party in the last couple of years. Making a lot of the stigma associated with the party less burdensome in Victoria, particularly.
Yeah, what were those issues for Victorians? Obviously, we hear the federal issues that people struggle with, like things like immigration, and obviously that's a major point for One Nation that they have policies on this. But for Victoria specifically, is there issues that locals there were talking to you about or candidates about?
With respect to Nepean, or you mean those traditional issues that we've suffered?
With respect to Nepean and Victoria more so, because obviously Victoria is a bit of a basket case.
Look, it is obviously, and a lot of our foundational party policies obviously have been a problem for a lot of Victorians, more the socialist side of this state, being the Socialist Republic of Victoria. That's been a lot of people over the last sort of decade, whereas now I think people are more amenable because they understand, a lot of our firm positions on immigration and things like that are now seen for what they are. They're based on economic principles more than anything, not just wanting to close the gate for the sake of not sharing this wonderful state of ours. Nepean itself, I think Nepean's a tricky one because it is obviously it's been a safe Liberal seat for 16 out of the last 20 odd years since its inception. But yeah, there's a lot of Conservatives here that have just had a gutful, mate. So it's not necessarily, I wouldn't say it's just a protest vote. But I think there's a change in community sentiment and it's coming on hard, whereas traditionally we probably appealed to not only regional demographics, but more so maybe the working class, more low socioeconomic demographics as well, whereas now in the Socialist Republic of Victoria, we've seen people that have worked hard and received fair remuneration for the hard work that they've contributed in building businesses and whatever else. They're now having that wealth sort of taken out of their back pocket with a lot of these socialist policies we've seen in Victoria.
I have two more questions for you, Warren. So on the VEC, so they called you just before your campaign manager, and they said that they're going to use Liberals and the Independent for the two-party preferred. Is that what you said earlier?
Yeah, correct.
Could they have done that earlier? And I mean, for a lot of us, it was obvious that it was One Nation and the Liberals who were kind of head to head on this one.
Mate, I think it was fairly obvious to most people, but certainly not the VC. Look, I don't know entirely the process behind it or entirely why they decided to go that route.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to speculate too much on that, but we'll wait and see what happens. But I think it's it just seems there's been a bit of oversight there. But yeah. Anyway, we'll test and adjust, mate. But I think if anything, it's likely just to create more media conjecture over the coming 24 hours. So it's not going to hurt us, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so. Just based on the media conjecture, and we had a poll last week where One Nation fell a few points, and the media was talking like it's doomsday. There is a tendency for the media to look at things that happen at One Nation, even minor shifts, either up or down, and overplay and overinflate what that means. So I think there is potentially a lot of media that are looking at Nepean by-election, and let's say that One Nation doesn't get up, they will talk like this is the end of One Nation. What do you have to say to supporters based on the type of media coverage we can expect if the result doesn't go towards One Nation?
Look, mate, don't engage in the perpetual division that's pushed by the mainstream media. It's that simple. It never ceases to amaze me how much work we have to put in within this party to get any recognition whatsoever. So, look, it's of no consequence to us. Doesn't matter. We've got a job to do and we're here and we're going to get on with doing that job regardless of the outcome. This was always going to be a difficult seat. It's not a seat we should have traditionally done well in. The more affluent areas of Victoria. But to really shake the stick, to really prove to Victorians that we can do this, I think getting anywhere around that 20% mark, federally this is the federal seat of Flinders. I believe we pulled about 5.3, 5.4% at the last federal election. So that's 12 months ago. So, there's a lot to be encouraged by here, mate, regardless of the outcome. So watch this space. That comes in ebbs and flows. And the reality is we've got Barra next weekend, which looks fantastic for us as well. So, yeah, don't buy the mainstream media hype or the perpetual division. It's fine, mate.
Thank you for your time, Warren. I appreciate it. Have a good night. Might check in later.
Cheers, good on you, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, mate. Thank you. That's Warren Pickering, the state leader of the One Nation Party in Victoria. And you can see that, the results haven't come in yet. That he's saying that potentially, based on the way that the VECs decided to count the results, we might not have a clear answer until tomorrow as well. I'm not across exactly how this works, to be completely honest with you, but for a lot of us, it's obvious that even if you look at two-party preferred, One Nation and the Liberals were the contenders to be up against each other, side to side, like they were the two favourites. So it's interesting how this is played out. We'll wait and see. If there's no clear results, we might have a result by tomorrow. But we shall continue on. I'm just checking the VEC website and seeing if we have any results coming from any of the booths into the VEC. Let's have a look. I don't think there's anything yet at all. How we can't vote. Let's have a look. No available data. So we'll continue on, guys. We'll continue on. We've got another guest joining in, Topher, who's going to be coming on later on from his studio. And we'll have a chat about Farah as well. He's got a lot of opinions and views on Farah. He's been following that very closely. So that's the next by-election that Warren Pickering there mentioned as well. That's coming up next week. And in that one Nation is in very good shape to potentially take that home. Here still, as a hopeful, I'm still hopeful for a very close result. Warren obviously was playing it down a little bit. But let's see. It's the night is still young. The night is still young. We haven't got the numbers in yet. Let's have getting a message through here as well from Avi. I'll just see what the message says. But I want to pull in some of the other media coverage. Let's see if we can pull in and see if the ABC, our taxpayer-funded ABC, is at all covering this event. Let's have a look. No, they're not. They got something about possums or a kangaroo and a rat. No. All right. I do have a video that I saved that I want to bring to you guys. This is from mainstream media coverage on Channel 9. So I'll pull that up. Let's have a listen in.
Polling booths have just closed in the Nepean by-election, with voters putting Liberal Jess Wilson's leadership to its first big test. With no Labor candidate, she's hoping her party will retain the seat. But One Nation and a local independent have other ideas. Stephanie Anderson begins our coverage.
It's polling day on the Mornington Peninsula and there's a whole lot of political colour for voters to consider.
How do you do? Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
But it's the battle between blue and orange that's attracting the most attention.
I voted Liberal.
I normally vote Liberal, but they haven't been getting close enough, so I thought I'd try Pauline Hanson's.
I voted for One Nation. I want to see a change.
I voted for Pauline Hanson as well.
But her name isn't actually on the ticket. Instead, it's candidate Darren Hercus. His campaign has been bolstered by the One Nation leader, but today he was on the hustings without her.
She's very busy woman, but she did ring me last night and wish me luck. The Libs are doing all right. We're doing okay as well. And the independents are doing okay as well.
Anthony Marsh is fighting to keep Nepean Liberal after Sam Groth quit politics and triggered this by-election. He's a local dad and he's been the local mayor, but he also lives just outside voting boundaries, so today he couldn't cast a ballot to back himself.
I think if you're putting yourself forward to be an elected representative in an electorate, I think should live in the electorate.
But people don't care about where my street sign is. They know that I show up every day.
And for election day, hopeful colleagues joined him.
Hello, Jess.
The opposition leader pressing the flesh as many look to this by-election as a temperature check on her 165 days in the job.
I'm working tirelessly every day for the people of Victoria to change the direction of this state.
Turnout has been steady at these booths, but the majority of voters here in Nepean actually had their say before today, with almost 30,000 people, or 60% of the electorate, filling out their ballot early or opting to post it in. Counting starts now to confirm a winner, but 7 months shy of a state election, it's guaranteed to deliver an interesting taste of democracy, however it's served up.
Well cooked sausage with caramelised onion, mustard and tomato sauce.
Stephanie Anderson, 9 News.
And let's head to the peninsula now and our state political reporter Heidi Murphy. Heidi, do we expect a result tonight?
Well, in an ideal world, Pete, yes, but it depends just entirely how splintered the vote is here on the peninsula and how wildly the preferences may spray. Now, the polling booths, like the one behind me, have now been converted into counting centres. They closed their doors at 6 after catering to a few last-minute stragglers who were trying to make it in before the deadline. They will count until 11 o'clock tonight. We hope to have some sort of indication before then. Now, it is the Liberal Party that has the most on the line here tonight. They need a strong, decisive win to give them the sort of momentum they will need heading into November's election. A loss here tonight would be devastating for Jess Wilson's team, but it is precisely what One Nation supporters are hoping to see. They believe they are in with a strong chance of getting their first lower house MP into the state parliament. Pete, hopefully we know by morning.
There you go, guys. You can see the mainstream coverage there. It was interesting. I haven't been following too much of the mainstream coverage, but they are giving a good run for One Nation and being fair and balanced in the way that they presented this particular report. Also interesting to many of you, I think you noticed in the comments there as well, that the Liberal candidate, even though he's near the electorate, he's outside of it. So he's like a parachuted candidate as well, technically, where he was talking about, it doesn't have to be on the street per se. So that was interesting. The Liberals always end up doing things like this. Labor does this as well. They parachute people in. It's usually the minor parties that run actual locals from that particular electorate or town or district. But I did see one of you say that the audio was out of sync, so I will check that and ensure that's coming through properly. It's always fiddly getting all these online streams coming through from different platforms because the audio could be out of sync to begin with. So I will check on that. In the meantime, we're going to read some of your super chats. If you're joining in, guys, we are providing live coverage of the Nepean by-election. In the corner there, you see that picture there. I'll make that bigger, actually. That is actually the One Nation after-party event that's taking place. So we will be crossing to that later on. You can see a lot more people have gathered. If you joined this stream around 5:30 when we first kicked off around an hour and a half ago, it was an empty room. So more and more people, more and more of the One Nation faithful volunteers have come to this event, and we'll be hearing from more of them as the night goes on. Benji might go around with the camera, and we might get some interviews with the people that are there. We've already heard from the state head of One Nation, Warren Pickering, and that was a very insightful interview. The mood so far, they're being, I wouldn't say the word is cautious, but no one really knows exactly how this is going to play out. Liberals are favourites according to betting markets, and according to the media pundits, they've put the Liberals just slightly ahead. But let's wait and see. Again, I remain hopeful. I know a lot of people in the comments are also hopeful and supporting a One Nation. I've openly declared my support for One Nation, so if you're wondering if I am being biased, I'm only being honest here in terms of how I view this. And the reason that I'm doing that as well is that, Victoria for so long has had this Liberal and Labor monopoly or the uniparty on governance or opposition here. And it's really good to be able to shake things up. Similar to what happened in South Australia, as someone who wants to have a better state in Victoria, we are crumbling in debt here in Victoria. Labor under Daniel Andrews has ruined this state, in my opinion. Jacinta Allen is perhaps the same, if not worse, as Daniel Andrews, as incompetent when it comes to the management of this state. And you really want to see a contender from a minor party like what we're seeing in One Nation in South Australia. The minor party doesn't really matter too much, I guess, in a way. For the Conservative side, obviously, you'd want a more conservative party there, not the Greens being the minor party, because they tend to vote with Labor for some of these insane ideas that have seen Victoria really go down over the last decade or so. But to have a party like One Nation, a minor party, Conservative party, pushing the Liberals as well in their politics towards more the centre-right or the right, I think it does well for the state. I think it would be good for Victoria. This is really a test to see what would happen in the upcoming November election, the main event. So we're waiting for those results to come in. I think we're going to get another interview from Bianca. So I'll get that loaded up as well. She is, I believe, the state secretary for the One Nation Party. Yes, she's called through. Let me just get that going. 1 second, guys. Oh. Hey, Bianca, can you hear me? Oh, audio is not coming through. 1 second. Let's have a look why. Benji, the audio is not coming through. Okay, we'll try now. Testing 1, 2, 3, Benji. Can you hear me, Bianca? Can you hear me? I think the mic is muted, Benji, on the system there. Now I can hear.
Okay, mute off.
That's
Can
better.
you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you
Okay.
now. Thank you for your time, Bianca. Oh, it went mute again. Yeah, there you go. I can hear you. Nah, gone again. Yep,
Can you hear me now?
yep. You're in.
Oh, finally.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Perfect. Thanks for joining, Bianca. For those of you, those people that are watching that don't know who you are, can you just give us a little bit of an intro, and then I've got a few questions
Yes.
for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Bianca Kolekian. I'm the State Secretary for One Nation here in Victoria.
Thanks for joining us, Bianca. I saw a post from you today, and over the last couple of weeks, you've been working very hard there in Nepean. One of the things that
Yes,
you
we
focused
have.
on really is the volunteers. Can you tell me a little bit about the volunteers you've had there for One Nation, and how big of a change it's been, I guess, over the last couple of years to see the growth in that area?
Yeah, look, it's been incredible, especially having been a candidate myself at the federal election and how hard it was with volunteers. For this by-election, you can really see how far we've gone. And the support has been incredible. We had about 200 volunteers coming on, so yeah, it's been fantastic.
What's
Huge
your
change since May last year.
Yeah. And how do you feel about today? Obviously, you've been at the polls all week. How do you feel about where the results are heading today as someone that's been there in the front line?
Look, I think it's going to be really, really close. It's going to be cutthroat. I have to admit I'm really disappointed from the choice of the BC of taking the independent for the two-party preferred. If you see on the ABC site, it also says that the BC went with the choice, despite the fact that they already know that she will come third, most likely. So sometimes it really feels like you're fighting against the whole machine, and we just want a fair and clean shot at this. But yeah, that's okay. I think that ultimately it's just going to take a bit longer to see what the real results will be. But I'm almost certain it's going to be between us and the Libs, and it's going to be a very close one.
What were the main issues that people on the ground were speaking to you about in Nepean? And why were they, it's a conservative state. It's been a liberal state for a very long time. The people that are switching over to One Nation, I'm sure there's many that have spoken to you and said this to you. What were their main reasons for switching to One Nation?
Look, the biggest issue is, well, obviously, businesses hurting, cost of living, crime, but the biggest issue in this electorate was the hospital, which is what the Liberals really pressed on with deception and lies. They kept trying to make it look like we are trying to privatize the hospital, which they very well know that we are not. But yeah, I think that the voters have really started to see what's going on. They see through that, and they actually lost a lot of support because of the behavior that they carried on at the polling booths. So.
And what's the I guess you're at the after party there. Obviously,
Yeah.
the results might not be known tonight as well, based on how the VECs are doing things. What's the mood in general of the One Nation voter base here in Victoria? If you can let the viewers know.
Yeah, it's very positive because for anybody that has been at the polling booths for pre-poll, all of our volunteers know that the support has been incredible. We had a lot of people just grabbing our cards and walking in. But we also know that it's going to be a very close one. So I think that regardless of how it will go at the end between us and the Liberals, I think that we've achieved something incredible for this by-election. And it really sets us in a very good way for what's to come in November. So I think we got a very good shot at this by-election for Nepean, but however it goes, it's a great achievement, and we're going to achieve great things in November regardless.
Thank you for your time, Bianca. I appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
Have fun tonight. Thank you.
Thanks.
There you go. Benji organizing the interviews for us. Thank you, Benji. He's actually doing some good work. He can probably hear me as well. We'll get a shot of Benji here. Benji, can you hear me? No, he's gone. Oh.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Thanks for your work, mate. Everyone that's watching appreciates the work that you're doing. This is a technical milestone for what we're trying to do, guys. Have a studio, bring in live broadcasts, and obviously be able to interview people, take your comments, and give you results as well. So on that note, there's a few more super chats that have come in. I want to bring in those super chats and see what you guys are saying, and we'll go back to see if any results have come through as well. But then again, there, Bianca from One Nation, the state secretary here for Victoria, also disappointed in the VEC by using the Liberals and the Independent for the count and not One Nation, even though it's very obvious that One Nation and the Liberals were the main contenders. So that I'm sure that will be discussed at length over the next couple of days. So we'll just keep a shot in the background there. While we read your super chats, let's have a look. Let's bring this higher. You covering Farah? I put a big bet on. We will. I'm pretty sure it hasn't been officially confirmed yet, but we could be doing something very similar to this for Farah. With Avi there in person, but don't hold me to that. It hasn't been completely confirmed, but we will be potentially looking at doing that. We got a super chat here from DOS0072. What districted was this election for in Victoria? You might have already picked up on this, DOS. This is the Nepean by-election. And 005 Pink, when will the results come? We are all waiting with bated breath for these results. I have not seen anything official yet. Let me just have another look to see if anything's come through based on your super chat. Nothing on ABC. We'll check the VEC itself, see if anything's come through. Oh yes, we are getting some results coming through. Let's have a look. Very preliminary results. I'll bring it up on the screen here on the VEC. So we got primary first preference votes. Candidate Herkus Darren for One Nation, 395 first preference votes. So he's got 20% of the vote at the moment. Liberals there with 33%. Anthony Marsh, and then the Greens. Very few votes coming through at the moment. So you're looking at less than 1,000. Sorry, not less than 1,000, less than about 2,000 votes that have been counted. So at least we got some numbers to talk about. But they'll obviously, over the next half an hour or so, I think we'll have a bit of a better indication of where this is heading. But just on that, we got Darren Herkus there with 395 first preference votes. And the Liberals there with 640 first preference votes so far. All right, let's go back to what we were looking at, which was your super chats. Someone here, 005 Fink says, MSN has not been fair to Avi. They have not been fair to Avi, but is Avi fair to the MSM? Oh, getting another call in. Let's have a look. It's all happening. Benji's coming in again. All right, let's have a look. Okay, Benji, what's happening?
Yeah, sorry, I just accidentally logged out. I just like making sure I'm still logged into for a good month.
Yeah, is what's happening there? Can you give us a bit of an outlay of what you see? This is Benji, our cameraman for Rebel News.
Everyone is still chilling, getting something to eat, having dinner. That's all.
Have you had a drink? Have something to eat? You put it on the on Avi's tab.
Nah, I already have got a glass of Coke and that's it.
Fair enough, mate. Well, thanks for checking in. Still working. Thank you.
I'll keep in touch.
Bye. Benji is a favorite of the audience, so we never mind when Benji comes on to have a chat. It's always good fun. We've got a super chat here from Drant's Plants. Shout out to Benji Legend and you too, Rukshan and Avi. Thanks, mate. Benji, $10 super chat. If he sees this, he might think this is actually going to come to him, this money. So Avi, be watching out for that. And we got here, what does it mean not counting one nation? So there's two-party preferred, and the statistics, though, the way that they do that, they use two parties, and the party that they're using, from what I've been hearing from these interviews, is the Liberal Party candidate and the Independent. So it just kind of confuses things a little bit, because obviously the One Nation candidate and the Liberal are the most likely to be the ones going head to head. So it just means there's a longer process for the preferences to be moved around and to have a better idea of the result. Oh, another interview's coming. Let's have a look. Yes, Benji.
Nah, just can't do my camera angle. It's all good, man.
All right, mate.
I'll just getting ready to bring another person of interest that you may want to interview later on. So I'm switching my camera angle on my phone.
Okay, no worries, mate.
Yeah,
thank you.
Cool, man.
I think Benji's just trying to throw me off what I'm doing. I've lost my chain of thought. Benji's just messing with me. Just give me a second, guys. And super chat here from the real Eric Alistair. Election numbers are coming in. Yes, we can see these numbers coming in. I'll pull up the results live on here as well, so you guys can keep a track of them. I think we need to make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see this as well. Bear with me while I make this a little bit bigger. So this is what we meant before when we're talking about the two-party preferred, how they're using the Independent and the Liberal for that calculation. But if we go to the actual the results here at the moment, let's have a look. And very few votes have actually been counted at the moment as well. But we'll leave this here on the screen there. So just for first party preference, we have Liberal Party Anthony Marsh sitting at 33.5% of the vote with a 14.7 swing against them. Then we have the Independent performing well at the start here at 24% with a 24% of the vote and 24% swing towards them. Makes sense in that sense. And One Nation, Darren Hercus with a 20.6% of the vote with a 20.7% swing towards One Nation. And the Greens there in fourth place, 14.6% of the vote with a 5.8% swing towards them. So very early on, guys, we'll leave these numbers on here as the numbers continue to come in. I think we'll leave it. We'll show the. Do you guys want to see the green on the screen as well, or just the three top contenders? Do you want to see the green on there as well? Let me know. Maybe we can make it bigger to see the green as well. We'll show the greens. Why not? Don't show the greens. Okay, cool. We've got three here. Yeah, Avi's at a party as well. He should actually call in from the dinner party. What do you reckon, guys? We need to get Avi here. We need to call in. Put it in the comments, guys. Avi's watching this on the screen while the dinner's happening. Maybe he'll call us from the dinner. But yeah, the results, I'll leave that up on the screen, guys. We'll see how that goes as the night progresses. Very early stages still, with less than, I think, 2,000 votes counted. Oh, 2,000 votes counted. So there's another video from Avi Emily that I want to play, so I'll bring that up now as well, and then we'll go to the next thing from there.
My usual flirting doesn't work with them, though. Can I get a Carlton? It's not going to work. Oh. Meanwhile, can I get Carlton Dry?
So again, thank you to the venue. Thank you to you guys, the people of Nepean, for making us feel so welcome. Get behind
Look at that! I was genuinely hoping she would stuff it up so I can get a refund, but that was a perfectly poured beer.
The best bartenders in Rosebud. Give them a shout out.
Best, but second best. Pauline's better than you guys.
She's better, but we're close.
Close,
We're close.
Cheers, boys.
Get on the buzz.
How is it?
Oh, I needed that. What did you get? You got
nothing.
No, you're looking at remigration. That's pretty much it.
I get deportation.
You get deportation while I get a beer. Avi Mini for Rebel News in Rosebud, Victoria, at the first real test for One Nation in this state at the by-election for Nepean. We're here tonight to find out why people have come out and what we can expect in the upcoming election.
Well, everywhere I go now, I talk to.
Oh, I can see Benji. I can hear you guys. Let's do the interview.
I'll put this on for you.
We'll play the video after. How you doing, Ricky Lee? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. How are you?
Good, thank you. I was actually debating earlier with Avi if you're in the upper house or the lower house in the Victorian Parliament.
Who won the debate?
We both forgot. I was like the upper house. I'm pretty sure the upper house.
Okay. Yeah, I am. I'm the upper.
Of course, yeah, I was correct. But thanks for joining us for this stream, and it's great to get your perspective because you're actually in the den there in Spring Street. What do you think about what's happening in Victoria right now and the revitalization, I guess, of One Nation in Victoria? Because I remember when you ran all those years ago, that was the first time One Nation had that kind of performance to have someone actually put into the parliament. But now you're seeing so much more support for One Nation. What do you think is changed over the last couple of years?
Look, the change is incredible, first and foremost. I've been with the party since 2019. And one of the originals, we only have two of the originals left in the party. The other gentleman, Vaughan Williams, he's actually here tonight as well. He's from Bendigo. And the change at the moment, people are just absolutely sick to death of major parties not listening to them, making empty promises, going in and completely doing a 180 and doing the opposite of what they promised. And people have had a gutful. We can't afford to continue going down this path.
Thank you. And we've seen the results here from the Nepean by-election coming in. What was your feeling on the ground? I'm not sure if you're on the polling booths or not, but what's your feeling been about what's happening in Nepean?
Look, I was on the ground all day at the busiest polling station. I was with Darren Herkus, our candidate, and the feeling was, I think the voters were actually outnumbered by the volunteers there. I've never seen so many volunteers. I think I counted about 50 of them, and that was insane. But as the people were coming in, look, I saw a diverse range of people taking counter votes from certain parties or independents. So tonight's results are actually going to be really interesting. I haven't been here for the pre-polling, so I'm not sure what that was like, so I can't comment on that. But just from what I saw today from that one polling station, it is going to be interesting from that one at least.
One of the criticisms that I hear about One Nation a lot, especially from the Liberals and some of the media elite, is that no one knows the candidates, and it's like they're not career politicians, pretty much, is what they're saying, because no one really knows who they are. Do you think that really matters to voters? Or is something going on?
Look, I think it's really refreshing for voters because they're sick of the career politicians. They're sick of seeing these Polish little ponies trotting up and getting elected in and not doing that job that our constituents want. They want us to be their voice, and so many politicians are forgetting that. Our job isn't to tell our constituents what they need. Our job is to listen to what they need and deliver that.
Thank you for your time today, Ricky. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. See you later. Have fun.
Thanks.
Australia.
Finally, how does it feel to be taller than me?
Hang on, I'll get down on the same step. Now we're the same.
This is the first time in my career where I didn't have to get on a step to be taller than someone. Where are we from?
Glasgow.
Glasgow. I'm not sure. Are these one of the good immigrants?
£10 tourist.
How long have you been in Australia?
Since 87. 1968.
1968, and I still don't understand what you're saying.
I know. I can't understand her either.
The next member for Nepean, Mr. Darren Herkus.
What would you say? What would be your final pitch? Why should they choose? Why should they vote for you? Why should they vote for One Nation?
Well, if people want change and they want, the cost of living to come down, the cost of energy to come down, the fuel crisis resolved. If they want change, vote One Nation.
How do you feel about the reception here tonight?
Mate, this is exceptional. Look, to say that Pauline was going to come down very, very short notice, so we literally pulled this together and we weren't even sure about venue capacity. We hadn't done a recce on the establishment or any of these things. Look, and we sold all those tickets out in about 11 hours, so that's just phenomenal.
Thank you. Guess what? It's about time we got this state back and we want our country back. That's what One Nation is all about.
One Nation.
You're One Nation?
100%.
Why?
One Nation.
Why?
Nothing else. Why? Why would you go downhill when you can go uphill? There it is. Pauline's got more guts and courage than anyone. And Labor, you guys need to stop lying.
I don't want to see Australia go the same way that England's gone.
I've avoided politics my whole life. I've always listened to Pauline. She's held the line for 30 years. And eventually you're like, hang on, I can't let her do this on her own. We've got to get involved. And so we all, Ruse, my mate, he's like, you've got to come, you've got to meet Darren. And now, because everyone that's involved, all the volunteers, we're all just local.
People are asking to sync the audio. I think when we did the interview with Benji, the audio got out of sync. So let me fix that for you guys. And
passionate, average, middle class, lower class, whatever people, and we just have to fix it.
I know I've said on the odd occasion that get me out of Melbourne. But you know what? It's all part of Australia. It's our country. We just need to get it back out of the hands of those who are destroying it on us. You know, Melbourne is... Well, at the moment it is. We can change it, we do. It is a basket case, and change desperately needs to happen.
We need change. We need Labor in charge. They're not for small business. They're not for tradies. Support a big union, corrupt union. $15 billion wasted down the drain in Victoria. So it's definitely time for a change.
Are you a tradie?
Yeah, concreter.
Who bought the caps is what I want to know. Who?
I had them made.
They're not made in China, are they?
No. Well, maybe the cap is, but because you can't get them anywhere else. But I had them embroidered.
To be fair, even if it's made in Melbourne, it's still made in China technically.
But they're embroidered in Dramana.
How are you feeling? Because you ran in the last election, and
Sorry, guys. I just want to cut to we've seen Darren Hercus there. A lot of things going on. I know my audio was muted before as well. I can see the comments. Let's have a listen in.
Last time, a year ago today, have selected foods today, and the two Wednesdays is just so full on and switched.
Campaign, mate. Is my daughter? He's embarrassed. He's both swords, but
That's the main thing.
yeah. Done well, mate.
You're a rock star. Oh, we needed to give it a best shot, didn't we? We're stuck to the moral high ground as well, mate. People winning with all,
Enjoy it, hey, enjoy it. Whatever it is.
Michael, how are you? You supported me. Yeah, good job. Well done. Well done, Darren. Did you win yet? Did you win yet? Oh no, the count. I wish. The count's just started, mate. So, well, no.
So, guys, if you're wondering what you're looking at, there's Darren Hercus there, the One Nation candidate for Nepean for this by-election. He's just come into the after party here. One Nation after party that's taking place in the area. And the numbers are still coming in, still very early days, but just based on the numbers now, Darren Hercus is gaining ground there on the independent. We'll just let this play out a little bit more and
It's going to be great weather. Were you down at Rosebud today? Yeah. How did it go? I'll get out of the way. When I saw they lost it, I was like, oh, what women? Yeah, thank you. I don't know. You enjoy it, mate. You've earned it. Now, I said at the start of this, if you get to the end of it, and you can still stand and still speak, you haven't worked hard enough. How are you feeling? I know, I can feel he's just hanging on, and he hasn't got much voice. Come on in, mate, come and enjoy the rest of the night. You're a bloody legend, so thank you for all the hard work you've done. Barry, absolute pleasure to help with the campaign, mate. Thanks so much. You've done a great job. They're coming through. They're coming through. Everybody in orange, come up here, please. Just for a second. Supporters. No. Let's hurry. Go up to here. Face back this way. Face back that way.
so I think here they're just taking some photos for the press here. Looks like it's about 8% of the vote that's counted. So if you're wondering these numbers that are there, I just had a quick look. It's about 8% of the vote that's counted. So still under 10% of the vote counted. And you're seeing a 15.2% swing away from the Liberal Party. Obviously, some of that's gone to One Nation. The Independent there's also at a 25% swing towards her.
Everybody come closer to the back of Darren. There we go. And Annette. Sorry, guys. Annette, is it? Annette. Sorry. That's right. So as many keep coming, that's it. Here we go. Come on now. There you go. Still coming. Yeah, of course. Harry, come on. Harry, come on. Come on, Harry. Don't run away. Here we go. Stay there. Stay there.
I took about 5.
Sorry, bro.
Sorry, bro.
Thank you.
Do you do weddings as well?
I do it all.
I was going to say.
You can't. We don't. I know.
I was trying not to. John, I was going to say you have to have done weddings twice.
This one has been amazing. She's had it all day today and the other
I'm just reading the comments, guys. I haven't got on for Macca's. We're just trying to organize another interview. We're just having a look if we're going to organize another interview, potentially with the candidate themselves. So we're just trying to do that. But in the meantime, you can just keep tuning into the live coverage there from the One Nation after party. And we're just organizing a few interviews. Benji's just trying to organise an interview. All right, let's just get to that. Hey, Benji, can you hear me? Hey, Darren.
Hey, how are you, buddy?
It's Rukshan. How you doing?
That's what? Oh, Roshan. Sorry, Roshan. Oh, I'm getting confused. Yeah,
You've had a very busy day, Darren. But
it's out of control.
look, man, I've seen you working hard there in Nepean and getting out there amongst the people. And obviously today is the day that people get out there and put the votes. And there's been a lot of pre-polling as well. How do you feel about how everything's transpired over the last couple of weeks? And also today, how do you feel about everything that's transpired?
Oh, look, mate, I felt like I've been strapped to the front of a freight train, to be honest. It's been a lot of a rush and a lot of hard work. But, we've stuck to the moral high ground and run a clean campaign. And we've done reasonably well. I mean, certainly it's a three-way race between us, the Liberals and the Independents. But who knows? We could come in from the outside lane.
Are you keeping a close eye on the results, or is that something you're going to check later on? It's still very early days.
Yeah, we've got the TV on, so we're keeping track of it. It is very early days, and the Libs are in front of it just a bit, and we're very close to the Independents. So
Yep.
yeah, it's a very interesting result.
What is the mood there in Nepean? Obviously, it reflects a broader mood in the state of Victoria as well. But what were the main concerns of constituents there in Nepean when you were obviously out there speaking to a lot of people?
Oh, look, the cost of living was huge. The price of energy, the fuel crisis, housing affordability. Even just through the supermarket checkout. It's just hurting everyone. And also businesses. I canvassed a lot of businesses in the area, and probably 1 in 3 or 4 don't know if they're going to be around in the next. Don't know how long they're going to be around for. They're really struggling. The land taxes have increased by sort of 700-800%. Payroll tax is just getting difficult. Workers' compensation is doubled. So all these pressures put pressure on businesses. And, when businesses fold, jobs are lost. When jobs are lost, families struggle. So it's a vicious cycle. So, we're feeling it down there in the pen. And the other thing too, crime's on the rise. As people get more desperate, crime's risen by 30% in the last 2 years. And we've got police stations, Tamana, Rye and Salento that are empty.
Yeah. You are in traditional Liberal heartland if you look at the results over a number of decades. It has been a seat that's been held by the Liberals for a long time, and what we've seen a trend of recently in Victoria is many Liberals switching over to One Nation. I know previously you were a Liberal supporter as well a long time ago. This switch that's happening, do you think that's something that's going to continue on? Because obviously we have the state election coming up in November as well. Do you think One Nation can maintain this momentum?
Oh, I think we can. Yeah, I think definitely 100%. I mean, from what I'm hearing, a lot of disgruntled Liberal voters, they're sick of the factional infighting and the lack of leadership, and and they're not doing enough to stand up to the Labor government. So yeah, we've won a few Liberal voters over, and I think that trend may continue.
Thanks for your time today, man. I won't hold you up too much. We might chat again some other time tonight.
No worries.
Thank you so much,
Thanks
mate.
for your time. Bye, mate. Bye.
Good luck, mate. Thank you.
That's good.
Grab on news. Having you? Is it coming tonight? All right.
Farming and
Yeah, worst thing she ever did, although we love Jason. He's a fuckwit. And he's a gorgeous kid. They do week on, week off. Week on, week off.
All right, guys, we're just waiting for more results to come in. Based on what we're seeing at the moment, none of it's officially confirmed, but it looks like the Liberals are doing very well, better than expected. And they possibly will retain this seat. But it's not 100% obviously confirmed. It's still very early in the terms of the counting, but just based on the trends, that's what it looks like. As we're waiting, we will play another video from our collection here from RV Yemeni, and this is the ABC having a meltdown. So all this by-election, everything that's happening leads into the November state election here in Victoria, a very consequential election because the Labor government, Daniel Andrews beforehand, and now his predecessor, Jacinta Allen, have run the state into ruin. And there is a major, battle going on for the votes here in Victoria. And one new political party has emerged. That's Avi Yemeni's Free Palestine Victoria, or is it the Free Palestine Party of Victoria? All right, Free Palestine Party in Victoria. So I want to look at an interview that Avi did with the ABC while we're waiting. I think it's a very interesting interview because it shows you how the media, doesn't really cover when the Labor government is doing a very similar thing with group voting tickets. The Sack Daniel Andrews Party. I don't know if you guys remember what happened with the Sack Daniel Andrews Party, where they were siphoning off votes to the Labor Party by deceiving people very, not in a, I think, very deceitful manner. And Avi Yemeni has challenged this system, but at the same time, he's also offering people freedom, free Palestine from Hamas. So it's a very worthy cause. Let's have a look at Avi. I'll bring this video up because I think we should play it while we're waiting for my next guest to arrive, which is Topher Field. He'll be here in a few minutes. Just to kill that time, we'll get this great video of Avi up and running. So bear with me, guys. I'll just get it all going nice and smooth, and then we'll read some of your super chats as well and get involved in that way as well.
The police because I think I just committed murder live on ABC radio. And this is the reason why so many people want the ABC defunded. And I say that as the boss of ABC, being my uncle. I think I like him personally. I think he should lose his job. I think you should lose your job. I think Australia, if we voted, if you want to talk about democracy, the vast majority of Australians would love to see you get defunded. Why are you against democracy?
Well, I'm not sure where the vast majority comes from, but
today I got to work to a media request from the ABC of all places. They were asking if I'm willing to join Raph Epstein on the morning show to discuss the Free Palestine Party, which I happily obliged. Which I get the sense, and you tell me what you think after watching the entire interview, that they regret the conversation. And if you agree, go to defundabc.com or scan the QR code to join the thousands of Australians calling to end this taxpayer-funded rot.
Mornings with Raph Epstein.
Victoria's the last state that votes in this way. The question is, could you be tricked when you go to vote at the election at the end of November? The YouTuber, online reporter, provocateur, however you term him, Avi Yemeni, he says he's going to start up a Free Palestine Party at the state election. It seems the aim is to redirect left-wing voters to parties on the right. It is completely legal. It's called vote harvesting. Just keep in mind, the Electoral Commission, they don't make judgments on whether or not party names are misleading. Avi Yemeni, good morning. Thanks for talking to us.
Good morning, Raph. How you doing?
Are you trying to trick voters?
What do you mean trick voters? We're trying to free Palestine. What's confusing about it?
I think for a lot of people, when they hear the words Free Palestine, they are advocating against what Israel is doing. That's often a left-wing cause. I think you mean something very different. Is that trickery?
We're saying we want to free Palestine from Hamas. I think probably the story for you, Raph, should be why so many people in Australia, so many leftists are outraged by this one. What do they want? Do they not think the first step to freeing Palestine is getting rid of Hamas?
If I voted for your Free Palestine Party, where would my vote end up? Who will you be directing preferences towards? The socialists?
Certainly not. They don't want to free Palestine. To parties that have committed and have shown that they want to really free Palestine from Hamas, which would be One Nation. Absolutely.
So isn't that tricking people? That phrase, I'm not debating what you think should happen in Gaza. What I'm asking you about, that slogan, is Free Palestine.
Raf, are you telling me that left-wing voters are that dull that they will vote on a slogan? Is that what you're admitting to here?
You call them useful idiots, I think. Do you stand by that?
I absolutely. I think that it's not just the left. I think there are three groups now in the political spectrum. There's the far left, the actual far right, and Islamic communities that will vote just on a slogan. Yeah, they are useful idiots. So we might as well put their vote to use.
Are you saying that people in the Muslim community are idiots?
I'm saying those that will come to Australia and vote on one issue about a conflict on the other side of the world and for their internal hate for Jews, yes, most certainly fit that category.
So you don't think it's misleading?
What's interesting, Raf, were you upset when the Sackdown Andrews party ran last election and funneled their votes to Daniel Andrews? Did you talk about it then? Why are you so upset now?
I talk about this issue at every election.
Did you talk about the Sackdown Andrews party?
I talk about this issue at every election. You can try to ask me questions, Avi. The way this program works, I invite you on. I ask you questions. You can say whatever you like, but I'm not going to get into you asking me questions. But you can respond.
I'll take that as an answer. Of course you didn't, because it didn't suit you. Now you're upset about it. You're the same person that brings on Sarah Schwartz every second day as a representative of the Jewish community, where she's absolutely not. And that's
not true. But can I get back to why
she's not a representative? What's not true in that, Raf?
All right, guys. I've got a very special... Oh, he disappeared. He disappeared on me. Let's go back to the video.
Which part of that's not true?
Can I get back to why I invited
Sarah Schwartz doesn't represent anyone in the Jewish community. She
Avi,
represents
I'll fade you down. If you want to have a debate about things that you say that I did that did not happen, then I'm not going to continue the interview. If you want to talk about the group voting ticket rules, I'm happy to keep going.
Talk about it.
Yeah?
Let's go.
So it's completely legal what you are doing. My question to you is, are you trying to get into politics by being dishonest?
I'm not trying to get into politics. I'm trying to take back our system. The voting will of the people in Victoria actually shows us that One Nation should hold many more seats and they'll win if this group voting ticket didn't exist. So we're actually levelling the playing field. It's a strategy that your side of politics have mastered for years, and suddenly you guys are upset. You don't have Raf, come on. There's a reason why Jews in Victoria tune in to 3AW, to Tom Elliott, because they need somebody to stand for them. In the last 2 years, they need somebody that actually supports them. You're not that guy. You have chosen a side. You're with Sarah Schwartz and the Palestinian movement.
So I'm not impugning your motives, so I'd appreciate it if you don't impugn mine. But again, you can answer my questions however you like. It's an entirely legal strategy. Do you think it's a good system? Someone else is setting up the Save the Environment Party. She's anti-lockdown again. Nothing wrong with doing it. No. Do you think it's a good system?
I think it's a bad system. I think it's a bad system.
So why exploit it?
Well, while it exists, we're going to play... You know that saying, don't hate the player, hate the game? I hate the game. I don't know why you're upset at me when Sackdown Andrews ran it, Labor Party ran it last election. What's his name? Drury, the preference whisperer, has been playing this system for years. Why is animal justice got a seat in Parliament? Because of this clown show. So scrap the system. Otherwise, what we're going to do is we're going to run parties based on slogans, and unfortunately, there's a certain side of politics that are dull and they will vote based on slogans. And if not, I don't know what you guys are
trying to attract the votes of people who you think are stupid.
Absolutely. I think their votes are being wasted.
Right. Will you run for this party? Do you want to run for One Nation? Who do you really want to run for or with?
I don't want to run for anyone, but I'm going to have to run in this election under the Free Palestine Party, and I'll decide. I might run... I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. We'll decide.
Okay, so would you prefer to run as a One Nation candidate or a Free Palestine candidate? What's your preference?
I don't want to run at all. I love my job. I love my job, Brav. Holding people accountable, holding the ABC.
Can I press you on that, Avi? If One Nation came to you and said, we really want you at the top of our ticket somewhere, would you talk to them about that?
Why are you assuming they haven't done so already? I'm not interested in running for politics. I'm doing this now to make a point because you haven't done your job all these years. Suddenly you are doing your job. And this is the reason why so many people want the ABC defunded. And I say that as the boss of ABC, being my uncle. I think I like him personally. I think he should lose his job. I think you should lose your job. I think...
It's enough, Avi. Topher, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing all right, except I'm having technical difficulties. Is that coming through smoothly? It is for you. That's
It's smooth for me, yeah.
Hang on. Okay, sorry. No, that's my bad camera. This one here.
This
is my good camera.
That's from the 1990s when webcams first were in experimental stages.
Sure. But I'm at 4 frames per second right now, so I don't know what's going on there. I'm going to change back to my bad camera because at least it will play smoothly. My apologies because it looks like a potato. So I'm sorry. I'm coming to you with potato cam today.
I'll take that. I think the audience, would like to see anything else but Avi Yemeni's face. We here at Rebel News have no option but to play videos of Avi. It's in the. We're obliged to do this. Avi specifically made that a part of conditions of working with him.
Otherwise, you won't get your turn on the space laser. And I mean, let's be honest. We all know that's why you really do it. So, Rukshan, thank you for having me on. I do apologize for the technical difficulties. I ran down here at the last moment. I've been spending time with the family and discovered I have a roadcaster video that is the core of my setup. And the thing is the most grumpy, intermittent device that I own, and it's frustrating. Anyway, Nepean by-election.
Tell me, what do you think? What do you think of what you've seen so far?
All right. So what I think is that what the narrative that we're going to hear coming out of this is the claim that the rise of One Nation is dead. They didn't win. Look at this. Everyone thought they were going to win in Nepean, and look at this. The Liberals held onto the seat. And what that is, it's a classic shifting of the goalposts after the fact. I don't actually know anyone that was confidently predicting a One Nation win. You won't find me confidently predicting a One Nation win. In fact, literally earlier today, I came out and said it's looking like a Liberal win. It looks like the Liberals will hold.
Yeah.
So we need to watch out for that narrative that people are going to try and pretend that the fact that One Nation didn't pick up the seat is proof that this rise of One Nation narrative is false. What this is actually showing very, very clearly, in my view, beg your pardon, as we saw in South Australia, the rise in the polls was reflected in an actual election. Now, people have made a big fuss about, One Nation, it was a landslide for the Labor Party in South Australia. They absolutely crushed it. One Nation, okay, sure, they picked up 5 seats, but you know what? That doesn't matter. The big story is that the Labor Party killed it. Well, that's true. That's not untrue that the Labor Party won that election convincingly. But what was important was that the result was a close match for the polls. And it gave us confidence that when we see a rise in One Nation's polling, that we can have confidence that that will actually translate at an election. We are broadly speaking seeing a similar thing here. One Nation at 19.7% at this stage of the counting, potentially more later on, we'll have to wait and see. That was an unthinkable number literally 1 year ago.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, we had a general Australian election, a federal election in May 2025. One Nation polled, 6.3 or 6.7% on average nationwide. We've seen a rise in their polling. We're seeing that translating into the results when it actually goes to an election. Now, why does this matter? Well, this matters because in South Australia, One Nation were well behind in the polls. They were doing well, massive rise, but they were never in contention to win. In Nepean, One Nation were doing well, but again, never got in front. They never got in a position where you could look at the polling or even look at the bookmakers and predict confidently that One Nation were going to win. That was never the case. In Farah, which is where I live, where we have a by-election in 1 week's time, guess what the polls and the bookies are all saying? A One Nation win. So what we've seen is a validation in South Australia and a further validation in Nepean that these polls are real, the change in attitude is real, and it translates to votes when it actually comes to polling day. And that gives me actually tremendous optimism towards the result that we're going to get in Farah in a week's time.
Yeah, I mean, there is this obsession with the media that holds One Nation to a standard that you don't typically see for other political parties when it comes to polling. Obviously, it's a new phenomena that they're dealing with. But, we saw a couple of weeks ago when they dropped by 2 points on the national polling. It was like, it's the end of One Nation. It's all doom and gloom.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then,
all
then,
that stuff.
then a couple of days later, another poll came out which showed they were head to head with Labor. And Pauline Hanson, her popularity is, I think, higher than Anthony Albanese's at the moment. Even
It's extraordinary.
Even if they ran head to head preferred prime minister, I think she, which is not a possibility, I guess, she still equips Anthony Albanese. So it's not like a flash in the pan type of thing that the media has portrayed, similar to what you've been saying. And it's true. Those of us who support conservative politics, who support the right, want to see One Nation and parties like that doing well, because it does change the balance of the uni party towards something resembling,
100%.
I think, more of a democracy. So I see somewhere like the Nepean electorate. It's very different to South Australia and some of the seats that we saw go to One Nation, and even the demographics. This is a hardened conservative liberal area with a elderly population, many people who have retired in this area as well. And they might not be there yet with moving to One Nation. That's kind of the story here, I think, for me, because I think maybe the younger generation of conservatives are possibly moving towards One Nation quicker, where the older ones may be holding out a bit more.
So there's a couple of interesting things we can point out with the polling that we're looking at right here. So the Liberal Party right now, obviously, there's still only a certain percentage through the count. I don't know if you've got that number in front of you, Rukshan, but
It's actually let's say about 16%, under 20%.
Yeah. Okay. So significant swings are still possible, but let's work with the numbers we've got in front of us right now. What we've got is the Liberal Party on 37, call it 38%. The Independent, who is essentially, she's the proxy for Labor. We have exactly the same dynamic happening in the Farrer by-election in a week's time. Michelle Millthorpe calling herself an independent, funded by Climate 200, preferenced by the Greens, ahead of Labor at the last federal election, and Labor aren't bothering to run. She is the Labor proxy. And so what we see here in the Nepean by-election, this so-called independent, who is the Labor proxy, polling at 25 seat, but that still should concern any political pundits, any political watchers from within the Labor Party. 25% as the left-wing vote. Now, of course, you've got to add the Greens to that. Can you scroll down slightly and show me the Greens number there on your screen?
Yeah. I was just pulling up the Farrer odds, but the Greens are
no, that's okay. Okay, so we've got 11%, 11.5% in the Greens. Okay, so that comes out at, scroll back up again, that comes out at 30, you got independent there at 25. So we're talking 36%, 37% for the Labor proxy and the Greens combined, and then the Liberal Party is another 37%. Which leaves you with something in the order of, a bit under 30% remaining. And that's what One Nation is picking up, even in a very safe, very convincing Liberal seat, which they could be expected to hold with a commanding majority. One Nation is still picking up a significant percentage of votes. Now, here's what's significant in my view. The Liberal Party will win this. They'll get past the 50% mark because of the One Nation preferences. So this is why this matters, because come the statewide election in November, there are people who are trying to push the Liberal Party to not preference One Nation. There are people who are trying to push the Liberal Party to put One Nation below the Labor Party. We've seen the same thing. In fact, Liberal Party senators have urged the Liberal Party to put One Nation below Michelle Millthorpe in the Farrer by-election. Now, that hasn't happened. They haven't listened to those people, but there are people within the Liberal Party at a state level and at a federal level who want to try and exclude One Nation at any cost. What this election shows is that if they don't do a preference deal with One Nation, it will cost them. Yes, they're in a commanding lead. This is as safe a seat. This is as safe a seat as any seat gets for the Liberal Party. And yet they still need One Nation preferences to get them past that 50% mark. So I think the Liberal Party will claim a commanding win here, and they're not wrong. This is a convincing win for the Liberal Party. The swing is on for the Liberal Party. We've got a massive swing statewide against the Labor Party, and some are going towards Liberals and some are going towards One Nation. And to be fair, some are going towards the Greens as well. We're going to see a higher than usual Greens vote in the coming state election, because some Labor voters will never go Liberal and they'll never go One Nation. So if they're not going to vote Labor, they will vote for the Greens. But what we're seeing very, very clearly is that the Liberal Party need One Nation at the next state election. And I think that's a really good thing. If that's all this by-election achieves, then it has still achieved a really good thing.
Yeah. I think what I see as well, that Topher, that you might be able to speak to more on, is Victoria is very different to South Australia as well in terms of demographics.
Oh yeah,
we are kind of like a socialist hellhole in many regards, and the demographics of the populations, especially immigrant communities, are well ingrained within the labor movement, and it kind of flows over into the liberal movement as well. Like, I find perhaps people who are from immigrant backgrounds perhaps less likely to change parties that they've been voting for a long time. And maybe One Nation hasn't or won't be able to cut across to them in Victoria, and we might not see the same impact as we saw in South Australia. What do you think about that? Do you think maybe more so rural demographics might go for One Nation, but metropolitan demographics in Victoria is a bit harder for One Nation to crack?
This is a really important point. It's the same with global temperature. It's the same with any sort of global average, universal average. There is no average One Nation support in Australia. That is a mathematical fiction. It doesn't exist. In this region, the support is this. In that region, the support is that. Over there, the support is another thing altogether. That's the reality. So you can't take a single by-election, a single seat, and then roll that out and pretend that that's representative of some much larger super sample. But we do know, based on polling, that One Nation consistently do better in rural and regional areas. They consistently do better amongst an older demographic, and they consistently do better amongst men. Those things we can say with confidence. There's been an enormous amount of research and polling that's been done on that. So when you get to a seat like Farrer, where I live, which is one of the more conservative seats in Australia, it is largely rural. It's about 1/3 Albury population, and there's a couple of other regional centres as well, Griffith and Wagga and a few others. It's about 1/3 of the population live in those population centres, and about 2/3 of the population live outside of that. They're living on the land or in very small rural communities. And so leans conservative, and it certainly leans towards One Nation. We saw with the voice referendum in Farrer that it was rejected, I believe, by about 75% of the population of Farrer, which wasn't the highest in Australia, but it was up there. It was a really solid percentage. So again, just like we can't use the Nepean by-election as proof that the rise of One Nation is failing, also we can't use the Farrer by-election assuming that One Nation wins, and right now it's looking very good. Even if One Nation wins, we can't use this as proof that One Nation's going to win the next federal election. That's naive. There is no average vote across all of Australia. Every region is different. We know inner city Melbourne is much more likely to vote Greens than rural is likely to vote Greens. The inverse is true for One Nation. This, by the way, is one of the reasons why Matt Canavan is coming out and speaking very strongly against One Nation, is because he knows very well that One Nation is the threat to the Nationals. The Nationals traditionally have had ownership of rural and regional areas. That's what they got, and the Liberals got the cities. One Nation are eating the Nationals alive. And people are getting very grumpy at Matt Canavan at the moment because he's coming out saying things that, he's saying things I wish he wouldn't say, but you have to understand that politics
One Nation is an existential threat to the Nationals. You can't. You could have both, but it's politics. One has to, either defeat the other, or it's hard to share.
It's a zero-sum game. It's a zero-sum game. And do I wish that maybe things were being conducted a little bit differently?
We might just stop that there, Topher. Sorry, we'll just cut into one. We'll just have a listen in to Warren Pickering.
Look, I would just yell, but I think Darren's been yelling for the last 2 weeks on pre-poll, so we'll give him an opportunity to actually speak through a microphone. Look, guys, firstly, before we go anywhere, I want to see a show of hands who volunteered their time over the last 2 weeks. Have a look around. Give yourselves the biggest round of applause that you've ever given.
I'll just bring that in. The audio is a little bit out of sync, so let's just get that fixed up. Topher, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I know we're going to be watching this. I don't know if a cigar to pull out.
Look, I'll probably pull out a cigar next week when we're hopefully celebrating a win for David Farley, the One Nation candidate.
and what effort to try and bring this party into the mainstream in Victoria, of all places. And look, there's a long way to go. But the reality is we've achieved that. Don't think for 1 second that we have not moved the needle and that this will not have a ripple effect come November. The VEC and their infinite wisdom have decided to go to the two-party preferred between the Independent and the, what's that other party? And the Liberal Party. Sorry. Look, and it remains to be seen whether that was the right decision on their behalf or not. We are early days, there's a long way to go. But in the short term, so for those that haven't previously had much to do with the political sphere, a 15% swing in a safe Liberal seat that they've held for 16 out of the last 20 years since its inception is phenomenal. That is massive. And to continue to watch where these numbers go over the coming days and just how much an improvement we have had will determine exactly how much of that Labor vote we've chipped away at. How much has come to us, how much went to the Independent, these various other things. Those sorts of data sets are so important for deciding where and how we allocate resources at the state election. And that's a part of our intention here, right? Now, when we first, as you guys all know, I've seen you guys at the last 4 or 5 meetings that we've had out here and events and whatnot. So you know our broader strategic objective to cultivate talent from within our community so we can have real people from the real world represent our respective communities across Victoria at the state parliament. So I won't bang on too much about that. Oh, actually, before I do go on, show of hands who in the room's a member. Oh, damn, that joke usually works. Look around. So for those who don't know, members, what's the time for? One Nation! No, look around. You've got about 3 hours to indoctrinate those people, mate. Come on. Lukey, I've been saying that for a year now, mate. You should be all over this. Sorry, not sorry. I expect you to be standing on the door checking the new membership numbers on the way out, mate. You're on it. Great work. Now, there's a few more other things I'd like to do here tonight. I'm probably not going to now, but I will immediately thank... We had a fantastic team on the ground this week, guys. Give Darren's campaign team, in particular Harry, for leading that team, on the ground. So in accordance with some of our strategic objectives for Vic going forward later this year, we had to run in this by-election, we really did, for a few reasons. Some of them less obvious than others. I think most of us know what the obvious ones are, but the less obvious ones are, firstly, visibility. Secondly, to prove to Victorians that we intend to contest all elections in this state going forward. And thirdly, and probably more importantly to us from an executive standpoint, is this was an opportunity to test some of the new procedures that we've implemented over the last couple of years that we intend to incorporate into our state campaign more broadly. Now, Daz was aware of this. You're a bit of a test monkey, weren't you, Daz? Yeah. We're not going to lie. Some components were clunky, absolutely. Some worked really well. Now, those of us that are veterans or emergency service in the room will understand this. So after this, we will conduct an AAR, an after action review, through a solid procedure of fix, sustain, improve. What worked, what didn't work, what can we improve on, how better. And this is how we refine our systems.
Like cut in, Rukshan,
yeah, of course.
He's obviously addressing the volunteers and people that have worked their asses off. The graphic you've got on screen there is lagging behind slightly. Another update has come in from the AEC, and it's quite interesting. As I suspected would happen and sort of didn't quite want to say, I didn't want to predict it, but I alluded to it earlier. What we're seeing now as more numbers come in, they're up to 16,000 formal votes counted, is that One Nation's margin is actually improving, but more significantly, the so-called Independent, her vote, Tracy Hutchison, is actually going backwards, and One Nation are now ahead of Tracy Hutchison on the latest information on the VEC website.
Okay.
Now, before anyone watching gets too excited, that's not going to help One Nation win. What Warren Pickering said there about how the VEC switching to a two-party preferred vote, a lot of people are going to get their noses out of joint and say that's not fair. We should do a full vote. I'm sorry. If One Nation are beaten by the Liberal Party on primary votes, One Nation are not winning this seat. It doesn't matter where they come relative to the Independent or relative to the Greens or relative to anybody else. The reason for that's very simple. Greens preferences, 11% or so there, are going to end up with the independent, because they're certainly not going to end up with One Nation, are they? They're going to end up with either the independent or maybe the Liberal Party, but that's where they're going, probably almost entirely the independent.
Yeah.
Let's say the independent then gets eliminated, and it's between One Nation and the Liberal Party. Let's assume, which that won't be the case, because those preferences from the Greens will get the independent over the top of the One Nation Party. But even if that weren't true, where are people going to direct their preferences if they voted for this independent first? Or if they voted for the Greens first and the independent second? I can tell you already One Nation will be at the very bottom of their card, which means that the Liberal Party will be above One Nation on their card, which means the Liberal Party have got this. From here, we're not watching to see if One Nation can win. We're watching to see if One Nation can come in second in primary vote over the top of the independent, and prove conclusively that they have the potential to beat Labor in seats come the November election, because that's who this independent is a proxy for in this by-election.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think one of the things we're noticing, even from Warren Pickering speaking there, they are a serious party. They're obviously well organized. They understand the results in terms of the way they have to analyze, losses, let's say, and pick themselves up again. And they are planning strategically for the November election. Yeah. It's very obvious they're not just a flash in the pan.
I've known Warren for years now. He's a high caliber individual, and he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
When it comes to dissecting what's happened with an election and figuring out what you can do better, obviously that's always necessary.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's all right. But the thing with One Nation is they are shifting away from being a leadership-focused party where it's all captain's picks by Pauline Hanson. She decides who the candidate will be, etc. They're moving towards a properly formed, properly structured branch structure where branches are making the decisions about who the candidates are going to be, and they're running the campaigns, etc. That process is messy. I can tell you, you just said they're obviously a well-run party. I would say it differently. There are no well-run parties. One Nation are having some teething challenges as they're setting up branches all over the country at a state level and at a federal level. This is a well-run campaign, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But they're having challenges. Let's not sugarcoat it.
Well, I guess I'll say more so, not in the way the media portrays them as being completely dysfunctional.
not at all in the way the media portrays them.
For a minor party.
And the thing is, if you actually got behind the scenes in the Labor Party, in the Liberal Party, in the Greens, they are dysfunctional, they are toxic, they are egotistical, they are horrible in every way that you can possibly imagine. And One Nation, against that comparison, actually hold up really remarkably well. So I'm very optimistic about the future of One Nation, and this moment here and the decision to then double down, do some research, figure out what can we do better in the future and keep pushing forward is really important.
Yeah. It was an interesting point that you made up, that they're moving away from, obviously Pauline Hanson is the figurehead of One Nation. When you think One Nation, you think Pauline Hanson. It's hard to separate the two. And there will be a time when there is no Pauline Hanson in Parliament. She's been there for a long time, but actually we're going to just cut to Darren's
Let's
speech
hear from Darren.
Let's hear from Darren.
Thanks, everyone. One Nation colours. It's to give to the Liberal Party for all the crap they've done around anyway, I've heard a couple of beauties. Liberal Party leaders are like nappies. You have to change them regularly for the same reason. One of the volunteers come up with today. He goes, there's more tools there in blue than there is in the Bunnings warehouse. Jokes aside, look, I've had such amazing support from volunteers, supporters, and a lot of volunteers, like Tess here. Where's Tess? Amazing. She's been sitting there like for days at a time. She's been sitting there for days at a time.
That's better.
Handing out how to vote cards, and she's been incredible. And so has everyone. And the support has been unbelievable. And to see all these people here, all travelled a long way. Your support today has been amazing. On your dad. So, the campaign, when people started, we were smashing it. I reckon the first 2 or 3 days, Orange was getting taken. We were smashing it. And that's when, unfortunately, the Liberal Party decided to release and do a mail out saying that we wanted to privatise the Rosebud Hospital, which was just not true. Yeah. And unfortunately, a lot of people believed it. And for a few days after that, our numbers went down. But eventually we started, we get to moral high ground. We've run a clean campaign. And the numbers started sort of coming back towards us. So we've had a late run at the end. And even if you don't win, we've stuck to the moral high ground. And this, this leads us into November. We've got a good launching pad. We're going to go hard and go again. We're going to go again. Let's go. And One Nation is going to bring it home in November.
Yeah, good on him. Good on him. That's a good approach to take. I will say this, I believe, was his first ever political campaign, and I've only been watching from a distance, but it did seem apparent to me that he's not as comfortable in front of a camera and not as used to dealing with media as what he will be in the future.
Yeah, that's true. He's everyday guy. I mean, he's softly spoken there on the microphone as well.
Yeah.
He's not someone who's a polished politician, media trained, so forth. But I find that endearing about One Nation candidates, and from a lot of minor party candidates so far. I like seeing just everyday Aussies getting up in there because it's good to mix that place up. I spent a bit of time in Canberra there, working for a senator, and the amount of art students and lawyers that are there, it's not a reflection of everyday Australia. Let's just put it that way. So I don't mind that. No. I know you don't either.
Yeah. So let me say though, a by-election is a magnifying glass, and the quality of the candidate in a by-election and the individual personality and capacity to communicate is amplified. It's more essential than it is in a general election where that's just one candidate amongst many. So Darren's actually held up well under that microscope, despite having no experience. And so I see a good future for him. He's obviously committing himself there to continuing to work and continuing to double down. I think that's a fantastic thing. But we can also see from the results so far down the bottom, the provisional results coming in so far, the Liberals are in a commanding lead, a commanding position here. But even so, on the current numbers, they will still need One Nation's preferences to get them over the line and into an actual winning position. And so from my perspective, barring a One Nation win, which was never likely, and I certainly, and I don't think you ever predicted, barring a very unlikely One Nation win, I think this is just about the best possible, result. One Nation in second position and providing the Liberal Party with the preferences they need to actually claim the win. This is a position that sets up One Nation very, very well for the November election.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. When I look at these elections so far, again, I like seeing the minor parties do well. It's been a struggle, and it's been great seeing the traction that One Nation has gotten over the last few months, and they've put pressure on the Liberals. Now the Liberals are going to walk away from this. Jess Wilson's going to be patting herself on the back. I think again, there's going to be a false sense of security there as well, but they're going to play it up in the media. For their own purposes.
Security.
Yes.
There will be in public. There will be bravado, claiming the win. Look at us. We are the safe pair of hands. Politics is moving to the right, but they're choosing us and not these unknown renegades, One Nation, who have never delivered a hospital or a road. They'll borrow from sort of Matt Canavan's playbook at the moment. They'll do all those things in public. I can tell you already in private, not that these results are a surprise, but in private, the number crunchers in the back rooms of the Liberal Party are already sitting here thinking, we're going to lose more seats to One Nation than we thought we were going to lose, and we can't afford to piss them off. And this is, let me segue if you don't mind. There was a piece of campaign material mentioned there that was a lie about how they were going to privatise the Rosebud Hospital. A few weeks ago, I put up a video about a very dishonest piece of campaign material released by the Liberal Party. And that was a piece of campaign material that was in One Nation orange. It never had any Liberal Party branding. The only thing identifying that it was from the Liberal Party was the authorisation statement. And even that didn't say Liberal Party. It just said name and address. So you actually had to know who that person was, which I do, or Google it in order to figure out, this came from the Liberal Party. It never once said who you should vote for. It just said that you should not vote for One Nation. And it rolled out the usual lines. They've never delivered a road. They've never delivered a hospital. I might even have it here.
Bring it up. I'll pull up the letter they sent you as well.
Oh, yeah.
I love how they've called you Mr. Topher Field.
Yeah.
They should know your name because I know you've previously ran.
I'm on the electoral roll, for crying out loud, with my full name, of course.
This in itself is concerning.
Now, also, notice how it says our ref, record number, and there's no number.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what that means, but I'm reasonably sure that the VEC are flying by the seat of their pants in this particular case. Now, the fact that they sent me this the day before the election also makes me go, come on, guys. So what's happened here, I released a video exposing a piece of campaign material that was sent by the Liberal Party, hand-delivered by Liberal Party volunteers into people's letterboxes, which was designed to be confused as a piece of One Nation campaign material, at least until someone began to read it. It was designed that you would see the colours, you'd see the font, and you think, this is from One Nation. Yeah. And only once you started reading it would you realize it was actually a hit piece against One Nation. I consider that to be deeply dishonest. So I did a video about that, and I released that video. And at the end, because it's about an election, electoral material, I did an authorisation statement authorised by Topher Field, Albury, New South Wales. That's where I live. Now, technically, I'm supposed to put put a street address, and that's fine if you're a political party. You've got a head office. That's fine if you're a media company. You've got a head office, a publishing office, or a lawyer on staff whose address you can put onto that. I'm none of those things. I'm a private citizen who happens to have a loud mouth, and I'm really good at pissing people off. So I do it full time now, but I do it from my own garage in my own house. I don't have anybody else's address I can publish. So the VEC's rules, as written right now, create an unreasonable burden on me.
Bernie, I think I'm ready.
Sorry,
mate,
we've got Benji calling in. We've got another guest coming in, Topher. We'll go back to your point.
No, I'm happy to wait.
Yeah, can you hear
him? Bernie Finn.
Mr. Bernie Finn.
Is that Rakshan?
It is Rakshan and Topher Field.
Rakshan, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. Good to see you. You're in the One Nation orange.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Quite a turn. quite a turn you've done. I think the perfect person to ask. You've been with the Liberal.
Yeah. Okay, good to see you. Lovely to meet you at long last.
Bye. Bernie, you've been with you were once with the Liberal Party for a very long time, and now you're Don
41 years to be precise.
41 years. I think you better than anyone can explain to us what is this shift happening in Victoria, where a lot of Liberals are moving towards One Nation.
Well, what we have seen today, mate, is the beginning of a revolution, a political revolution, the likes of which we haven't seen in this state or this country for a very, very long time. It is remarkable the number of people that I've spoken to in the last couple of weeks who are lifelong Liberal voters. The other day I was giving out how to vote cards with a bloke who had been a lifelong Liberal man or National Party man, because he came from the country originally, all his life. And he had been a Liberal member, but here he was wearing the orange T-shirt and giving out One Nation cards. And that is indicative of what's happening amongst a lot of people and a lot of way they're thinking, and it's quite remarkable the number of people who I would regard as natural Labor voters who are actually taking our card and not taking any other So, if people think that this is just taking Liberal votes, they should have another think about it, because we're also taking a lot of Labor votes. And that is going to have a major impact on politics in this country.
Interesting. Thank you for that, Bernie. I wanted to ask you about today's result. Just based on the numbers that we're seeing, it looks like a strong performance by the Liberals. What's your takeaway from what we're seeing in terms of the result and the numbers coming in?
I'm sorry, mate. Can you run that past me again? It's very noisy in here.
No, I totally understand. Based on the numbers and the results that we're getting in today, it looks like the Liberals are performing quite well there in Nepean. What's the takeaway? Being a Liberal insider at one point, what do you think their takeaway is of
well,
this?
You have to say, I think they'll be relieved. So if they've won this, they'll be very relieved, because I know that they were very concerned. That's why they ran the smear campaign, the scare campaign about the Rosebud Hospital, and we called them out on that. But they, did a lot of damage with that. So whoever came up with that lie, well done. You've done yourselves proud if you regard looking if you're looking in the mirror and trying to make yourself proud. Well, you've done that. Your lie worked. But the fact of the matter is that we have held up well. We've held up extremely well, and we have made an announcement today, and that announcement is that One Nation will decide who the next government of Victoria is. If One Nation is not the next government of Victoria, we will decide whether it's Liberal or Labor. So, the Libs better pull their head in. The Libs better get their act together, because they are going to have to come to us in the next few months, and cap in hand or without, or perhaps on bed, I don't know. But they're going to have to come to us and come to some sort of deal, arrangement, call it what you will, regarding our preferences. And quite frankly, in this room tonight, if I did a survey of One Nation people, we would not be inclined, I don't think, to be all that supportive of giving the Libs preferences, because there is a great deal of anger about what they did in this campaign, and a lot of people, as much as we hate the Labor government, a lot of people are still very angry and will be very angry for some time about what's happened in this campaign.
Topher, do you have any
Bernie,
questions?
can I jump in with a question here?
Yes,
Bernie,
please.
there is a media narrative that says that One Nation is this far-right party, and that any votes that One Nation gets have come from the Liberals. They're just cannibalising the Liberal vote. What can we understand from the Nepean results so far, and what have you seen on the campaign trail? Are One Nation just an extreme right party that are cannibalising the Liberals, or are they actually attracting enfranchised Labor voters as well?
Yeah, mate, far from it. I mean, the fact of the matter is, as I said before, we have seen a string of people who are natural Labor voters, tradies in particular, pensioners, who have just taken our card as they've gone through and said thank you very much, and haven't taken any others. We are not just taking votes from the Liberal Party, we are taking votes from the Labor Party as well. And I think that Jacinda Andrews, as we know, a Premier of dubious merit, she has to be a very, very worried woman right now about the impact that One Nation will have at the next election, because we're taking her votes as well, and that's something that I'm quite excited about.
Bernie, maybe you've clarified this earlier, but are you running in November? Are you upper house?
Look, I really don't know. We'll have to have a discussion about that and all that sort of thing. I joined One Nation after the Bondi Beach massacre, because I was horrified about what happened. I was very, very scared for Australia's future, and I remembered for 30 years Pauline Hanson had been warning about this very thing. So I said, if you really want to stand up for the things that we need to stand up for right at this time, you've got to join One Nation. So I did, there and then on the spot. So that's the reason that I'm here. I'm here to support One Nation and to get them elected if I possibly can. And what I will do at the next election, I really don't know. The only thing I do know definitely is that I will be voting for the orange, and that will be something that I hope every Victorian, every Australian will consider doing, because this is a really, really important moment in Australia's history. And if we do not win this, we lose our country. It's as simple as that. And I'd ask everybody, to those people who don't take politics seriously, for God's sake, get your head out of your fundamental orifice and think for yourself, because this is a pivotal moment in the nation's history. And if you don't make a decision as to where we go, if you don't take any interest as to the direction that the country goes, well, we're going to sink. And that horrifies me.
Bernie, we've just had another update come through from the Victorian Electoral Commission. If you look on their website, it's now 60% counted. And One Nation, Darren Hercus, is now solidly ahead of the Labor proxy, Tracy Hutchison, the alleged independent. What that means, essentially 62% of the voters have given a primary vote either to the Liberal Party or to the One Nation Party. Does that mean, and this is a tactical question, I don't know if this is the right question for you, but does that mean that One Nation need to start focusing more on appealing to Liberal Party voters, because perhaps Labor, in this case the proxy for Labor being that independent, are already so low that maybe the focus needs to shift on creating that difference between the Liberal Party in order to win outright in November?
Yeah, well, look, Warren Pickering, our state president, made reference to this earlier when he said that we're going to have a full review of what we need to do, and we'll do it. We want to form the next government here in Victoria, and I believe that is a possibility. So I think I'll leave that to Wayne to look after. I looked at a good number of the Liberals coming through the booths over the last couple of weeks. And I have to say, a good number of them, how can I say this nicely, might not be with us in November. They are of such an age that they're very, very old, and they've been stuck in their ways for 60 years or whatever it might be, and that's why they voted Liberal. But there's no guarantee that they might be around a real lot longer.
Thank you, Bernie. Thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it.
That's a pleasure.
I hope to see you around again.
Chat, gents. Bye now.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
Rukshan, with each update, we're watching this independent, this Labor proxy is declining. We're watching actually the Greens declining at the same time, and One Nation's position is firming up.
Yeah.
What I find really interesting here, can you bring up, I can, but I don't want to sort of ruin your lovely screen here. Can you
I'll bring it up.
The Commission's website itself?
From the VEC, isn't it?
The VEC itself, the current elections, Nepean by-election results by district, Nepean district results page, to give it its short name.
Let's bring it up.
Once I see that on the screen, I'll go through what I want to show you here because it's fascinating. This was the catalyst. I was looking at this, and this is why I asked former MP Bernie Finn, great guy, the question that I did. So right there at the top of those results there, can you just scroll up a little bit there? Just hold there for a second. Come down a little bit so we can see a little bit more. So this is now 60% counted. I'll just bring it up on my screen. So 23.7% to One Nation, and we've got 39, I'm going to call it 40% to the Liberals. So between them, we're on 63% between the two of them. Now, you might be tempted to assume that all of those One Nation voters are disenfranchised Liberal voters. And if that was the case, then you would assume that the preferences would flow to the Liberals. And so therefore, the two-party preferred Liberal vote, the Liberal vote after Pauline Hanson, beg your pardon, One Nation preferences have been distributed, is going to be up around 63%. Now scroll down, if you will, to the two-party preferred down near the bottom of the page, please. Keep going. There. That two-party preferred result speaks volumes. Now, like Warren Pickering said in his speech, they're comparing Tracy Hutchison, the alleged independent, the Labor proxy, with the Liberal Party. Now, that's probably not the comparison they ought to be doing, but it's a comparison they're doing, and it's instructive. The maths I did a moment ago was Liberal plus One Nation added up to 63%. But they are projecting right now a two-party preferred result of only 57%. What that means is the VEC are saying that about 6% of the people, not 6%, 6 percentage points worth of the people who are voting for One Nation will preference Tracy Hutchison instead. Now, what this means is that the VEC are calculating that a significant proportion of One Nation voters are actually coming from the left.
Yeah.
They're being brought over from Labor proxies, and they will default back to them with their preferences rather than going to the Liberals. This, I think, is a really interesting documented example at an official level of the VEC saying, actually, One Nation are not just appealing to disenfranchised Liberals. They're drawing voters from all sides of the political spectrum.
Is it a possibility that it could be Liberals protest voting that don't want to vote for One Nation, don't necessarily like the Liberal Party, but they're going and voting for the Independent? Is that a possibility as well?
Well, so they would show up then as primary votes for Tracy Hutchison, not as primary votes for One Nation, who then preference Tracy Hutchison. I think the people who are voting for, number one for One Nation and then preferencing the Labor proxy, they are Labor voters. And we know there's a lot of blue collar. There's a lot of retirees that have voted Labor all their life. There are a lot of hardworking, salt of the earth Aussies who don't identify at all with the Liberal Party. They would never vote Liberal. Their father would rise from the dead and punch them in the face if they ever voted for the Liberal Party. But they can vote for One Nation. And what we're seeing is that a pretty significant chunk, maybe a quarter or so, maybe more than a quarter of the people voting for One Nation at number one are actually preferencing, at least the VEC are projecting that they will preference the Labor proxy on over the top of the Liberal Party. And I think that's really significant in terms of a bit of data, a bit of feedback to One Nation about where their voters are actually coming from.
Yeah. No, that's very great insight, man. Like, I think people will get caught up in the headlines of all of this when the media gets a hold of this, because they just go for the sensational headlines. It is in that analysis and what the number crunchers will be doing, like you said, within the parties themselves, and their actual reactions to it, especially if the Liberal Party warm up more to the One Nation now after this and try to make a formal deal as well.
I don't think they have a choice. People keep saying, oh, Jess Wilson said that she wouldn't preference One Nation. No, Jess Wilson said no deals have been made.
Yeah.
Which is the correct position to take this far out from the election. Deals get made 3 months, maybe 2 months from the election, and that's the right time to do them. Sheer political survival instinct will kick in for a lot of these Liberal Party MPs and candidates as they sit there and go, we can screw over One Nation and pretend like they're the enemy and win less seats, or we can buddy up with them, accept that they are going to win some seats, but in the end, we will win more than we otherwise would have.
Yeah, I think it's similar to what maybe Matt Canavan, you're talking about that earlier. He came out very hard against One Nation when he became the leader of the Nationals. And then they've preferenced One Nation in the Faraday election. So
Correct. Brad Robertson, the Nationals candidate, is preferencing One Nation above Michelle Milthorpe, the faux independent, the Labor proxy. It's the same setup as what we've got in Nepean. And so for all of the rhetoric, they know, because here's what happens. If Liberal Party or National Party put Labor or Greens or a Labor proxy above One Nation, they know that will flick a couple of percentage points worth of primary votes. There are people who would have voted Nationals first and then voted One Nation second or third or fourth, but now they're pissed off that the Nationals didn't put One Nation higher up on their card. They're going to switch that first preference vote. Now, here's why that matters. These parties get paid according to first preference vote. They get $5 or $6, whatever it is now, for every single first preference vote, assuming they get more than 4%. That's where half of their campaign funding comes from for the next election. So the political calculation in terms of the MP or the aspiring MP is, how do I get elected? The backroom calculation for the power brokers and the money men behind the party is, how do we maximize revenue? Because ultimately that's how they spend on campaigns and how they hope to win in the future. So pissing off the electorate by doing something dumb with preferences that might win you 1 or 2 seats, that seems like a great idea to the candidates. But the money men in the back room, they're sitting there going, we might pick up 1 or 2 more seats, but across the entire election, we will lose 500,000 primary votes. That's $2.5 million that we don't get. That calculation is one that the average punter, the average voter doesn't even know exists and doesn't factor in when they're trying to guess what a political party might do.
Yeah, no, great insight there, Topher. One question about Farah I wanted to ask you is, a video surfaced of the One Nation candidate talking at a symposium or a debate of some sorts, and he seems to be more amicable to immigration in the numbers that we have currently, or something around this. I'm sure you've seen this video. People are sharing this. And what do you make of this? Because obviously One Nation has been very strong in immigration. We do have this candidate in Farah who previously does have ties to, supporting Labor and supporting Teal. All these things have been brought up. But isn't it like Barnaby Joyce switching over to One Nation? Like these changes have happened, right?
You cannot rule out the possibility that Matt Canavan and Pauline Hanson will be best buddies before the next federal election. Okay, Matt Canavan's chipping away right now, but look at what Barnaby Joyce said about her. Yeah. She's bat-foo crazy. Look at what's his name in South Australia. Corey Bernardi had said about One Nation in the past, right? Yeah. You got to understand, this is politics. Politics is a full contact sport. And just like if you're playing for Collingwood and you're against Carlton, you're going to go in for a hard tackle and knock the guy around a little bit. And then 2 years later, you might switch to the Carlton team, right? And the person you gave a hard time might hold a little bit of a personal grudge, but they're going to have to let that go when you're on the field because you got to try and win the game, right? I'm sorry, it's exactly the same. So when it comes to David Farley, so I've now spent a fair bit of time with all of the Farah candidates. I hosted a candidate forum 3 nights ago that was sponsored by the Shooters Union of Australia. We had Michelle Milthorpe was there, David Farley was there, Brad Robertson, who is the Nationals candidate, was there, and a bunch of smaller people who, without being disrespectful, they're not in the running. They're not going to win. And I grilled David Farley, and I grilled the top 3. I grilled Michelle Milthorpe about her connection to Climate 200 money, about being preferenced by the Greens, about how she's not talking about her position on windmills and solar farms and VNI West and renewables and net zero. She's silent on all of that in this campaign, and how I believe that's dishonest. I grilled her on that. I grilled Brad Robertson, the Nationals candidate, on the fact that the Nationals are so historically weak. And how they've just been led by the Liberal Party into oblivion. And I gave David Farley a really hard time over a couple of key things. Firstly, his previous links to the Labor Party. Play this for us.
I'll get the audio running. You can keep going. I'll just get the audio working on that one. Okay.
So his previous links to the Labor Party, the way he explains it is this: he's been passionate about water for a very long time, and that's true. He's actually in leadership positions in various water advocacy groups, and he was hunting for any political party that would pick up that cause. Now, that's his job. When you accept a position of leadership in any kind of an industry special interest lobby group, your job is to find allies wherever you can find them. So they pitched, he developed things and pitched them to the Nationals. They weren't interested. He pitched them to Susan Ley and the Liberals. They're the ones who held the seat previously. They were not interested. And then he said, well, who else have I got? And so he began to pitch it around to Labor, and he got no traction with Labor, so he moved on. So he characterizes that as simply, I was doing my job as someone who was in a senior leadership position of a lobby group that was trying to get water reform. Of course, I'm going to court the Labor Party. I'll court anybody if they're going to see sense on this particular issue. Have you got the audio on this?
Yeah, I got the audio. Let's play it.
Let's have a listen.
Australia's been great at immigration, but we've just got to get better at it now.
But is 306,000 too many?
Is 306,000 too many? No, it's probably not. If we're successful in One Nation's water policies, we're going to need more labour, and we're going to need more labour quickly, skilled labour. So for anyone to be able to say what is the number today is you'll be able to address is what are we doing with productivity and what are we doing with capacity building. Then you'll get a true number that's required for Australia.
Yeah, because you've spent some time hunting up temporary workers, overseas workers for abattoirs in the Northern Territory, for example, and that figure includes things like the visa holders for on working visas.
Yeah, that's the PALM program.
And it also includes students, temporary students.
Australia's been great at immigration, but we've just got to get better at it now.
But is 306,000 too many?
Yeah, so that's repeating. Okay, so let me tell you a couple of things about David Farley, and full disclosure, I'm hoping he wins the Farah by-election. Okay, I'm in his corner. I'm not a neutral observer, and I just want to be upfront about that. So David has spent a long time in business, in agriculture, and he has seen firsthand the reality. And this is something that I already knew because of my advocacy around water since 2012, but it's come into really sharp focus since I moved up here. Australians would not eat if it were not for immigrants picking your fruit. I'm sorry, that's a fact. Right, there has been government.
Well, that's going to be
program
very, very unpopular in the current climate that we have today, Topher.
Couldn't give a shit because it's true. And this is the thing with David Farley. David Farley doesn't care about your feelings. David Farley is not going to lie to your face. This is one of the things I like about him most. So I'll give you a different example. The hospital is a really big issue here in Albury, and every other candidate at the forum that I hosted 3 days ago, they all said we need a new greenfield site in Albury, a new greenfield hospital site in Albury, not a renovation of the existing one, a brand new one. That needs to happen. We got to stop this renovation of the existing hospital. It's a waste of money. We need a greenfield hospital site, and I will deliver that for you if I'm elected. Right? They all lined up as a conga line to say that. David Farley gets up and he says, well, I know from experience in delivering infrastructure that it's going to be 15 years from now before we can open a new greenfield site hospital. So if you want to have a hospital between now and 15 years' time, we have to continue the renovation of the brownfield hospital, the one that we've already got, because otherwise there's going to be a massive gap in services. And yes, we have to negotiate for both. And the fact that we're spending money on one is going to affect our ability to get money for the other. All of that's true.
Yeah.
But if you're going to sit there and tell yourself that we're going to have a greenfield hospital and pretend that that's going to solve medical issues and medical availability in this area within the next 15 years, you're dreaming. Now, that's the truth, but that's not what people wanted to hear. What people wanted him to do was to join every other politician and, frankly, dishonestly make a promise that they could not keep, which was, I will deliver a new greenfield hospital for you. David Farley is doing the same thing on immigration. Most Australians, now, I'm a libertarian. I'm actually in favor of immigration. Why? Well, because I've actually done the numbers, right? I'm actually evidence-based. I'm sorry, I know people who want to be nationalists and rah-rah Australia, etc. are good for you. But the world actually has to function. And I've been involved in the food supply chain. I was involved directly in the food supply chain for 7 years, working in various aspects of the logistics of getting food onto the shelves of Coles. And
well, you've actually argued against my views on immigration as well, because
correct,
I think I'm a bit more hardline than you on my views.
You're a white fascist compared to me, Rokshan. I mean, you're like right out there.
I'm just going to put it out there before you continue on. But my view is, I get your argument that you're making around the realities that we have to deal with, but I think the sentiment of the country, people want to see something done. So, unfortunately, even if it's symbolic, I think it'll appease a segment of the community who think that this is, for whatever reason, this is the number one issue. Like, they think that the immigration issue will somehow, if you cut immigration, will lead to fixes for everything. That is the belief, and I know you share an opposite belief, which is more grounded in, your understanding of the flows from productivity and the use of migrant working populations or skilled migration to help industries and so on. Is that correct?
It's simpler than that. The reason why we get horrible, terrible immigrants who take advantage of us is because the incentives are for people to arrive here and take advantage of us. If we fix the incentives, the problem goes away. You can fix a problem one of two ways: by controlling and restricting it, or by making sure the incentives give you what you want. And fixing incentives is far better in the long run and leads to a far more naturally good outcome rather than controlling and micromanaging something. Every time you put the government in charge of something, it goes to crap. We all know that. Why would we do that with the immigration? What we need to do is remove all the incentives, remove all this NDIS rorting, remove all forms of welfare rorting and sending money back home, remove the two-tiered justice system where you can give a sob story about how you're an immigrant and you get off for crimes that people born in Australia would not get away with. Yeah. Remove all of the perverse incentives. If someone becomes a criminal in Australia and they were an immigrant, send them back. Have them do their sentence, send them back. You know what I would, if I was in charge, you know what I would do? I would turn around and say, right, if you are not an Australian citizen in Australia and you've been engaged in NDIS fraud or any other of these sorts of fraudulent activities, if you leave now and never come back, we won't pursue you. Simple as that. We are coming for every single one of you. But if you leave now, if you keep operating for one day more, we will pursue you. But if you shut it down right now, get on a plane and leave Australia and never come back, we won't pursue you. That a heap of the fraud will be gone instantly overnight, because they'll be like, you know what, this was fun. We've made a truckload of money, but this gravy train's coming to an end and we're going to get out while the getting is good. If we stop rewarding bad behavior, we will stop getting people who want to behave badly.
Yeah.
We need people who are willing to work to build futures. I was at a fundraiser for, with Barnaby Joyce last night. It was a dinner at a restaurant in town, and there was a businessman here who came from India. Now, I've seen in the comments people saying, oh, Topher wants us to be overrun by Indians and all this kind of nonsense. He came here with nothing but the shirt on his back. He now runs 6 different companies, employs over 40 different Australians. I met one of the people that work for him here in Australia, and he started with nothing, and he did it with nothing, starting with nothing but the shirt on his back. How did he do it? Because he took a job cleaning toilets as soon as he arrived. And then he just focused on being the best damn toilet cleaner he could. And then pretty soon he was working in the front of the restaurant because the owner realized, hey, this guy's underutilized in the back cleaning. He's learned his English and he's got good manners and he presents well. And one thing led to another. He started his own business and away he went. Of course, I want more people like that in this country. Now, here's my final point. All right. And I made this point to the NSN when they were having a go at me a little while ago, and this really pissed them off. But I've never heard anyone come back with a good counter argument to this. The people destroying Australia are not the immigrants with foreign names. I'll tell you who's destroying Australia, because I agree Australia is being destroyed. But the people destroying Australia have really good European, Anglo-Saxon, mostly English last names. Names like Rudd, like Morrison, like Gillard. These are the people destroying our country. Albanese, still a European name. Good, white Europeans, the kinds of people that if they were immigrating to Australia, a lot of these people would be like, yes, you come here, you share my culture. Guess what? I don't share any culture with Anthony Albanese, nor with Julia Gillard, nor with Kevin Rudd, nor with Malcolm Turnbull. They are not a part of my culture. My culture believes in hard work, believes in taking responsibility, believes in making the world a better place. Their culture believes in stealing from hard workers, weaseling your way into positions of power, whether you've earned them or not, and twisting things to turn them to your own advantage, even if it's unfair on others. I do not share their culture. But I tell you what, if someone from India wants to show up, take responsibility for themselves and their family and the cost of their living and figure out how to make themselves a better human being and how to provide more value to their fellow man, I have more in common with that person than I will ever have with Kevin Rudd. Yeah, that's why my position is what it is. And I share David Farley's view. If you think that we should just shut the gate, be careful what you wish for. If you think food is expensive now, wait and see what happens.
Yeah, look, I mean, I tend to agree with the sentiment of almost everything you said there. Like, these are ideas that I believe in as well. Again, I go back to the fact that the way that things are set up right now, it is more easier for immigrants, especially that are not assimilating anymore, to take advantage of this system.
So let's change the incentive.
To also culturally dominate. I think that's the issue. So I prefer a Western outlook, a Western culture, a Western tradition. And, you know, I'm seeing, yes, the Rudds, the Gillards and the Morrisons turning these countries into places where it's no longer about that. We had Tony Burke come out the other day and say, you know, we don't really care about assimilation. It's about integration, whatever that meant. Right? I'm like, really? Like these other cultures which are coming to over, the main issue is, and I know what you're saying, like we want to get more of the good people, but there's so much more of the people that don't really care about this country that are here now, that are changing the culture. I get getting rid of incentives. I understand all of that, but I just feel like it's kind of gone too far. That there needs to be a shift, at least establishing some type of dominant Australian culture. Now, that doesn't mean a white Australian culture. I don't necessarily think that means that. I think an Australian identity that people can be proud of. We're failing to do that. We're getting far behind that. And one of the reasons I like Pauline Hanson and One Nation, even when I spoke to Pauline Hanson and interviewed her, she seems to understand that version of Australia more than most politicians. Yeah. She's willing to she's willing to say the tough things about immigration, but she also understands the contributions of immigrants who are assimilated into Australia, benefiting the country as well.
So even Pauline will tell you that we need immigration. Right, understand this. One Nation, the media tell you that One Nation is the anti-immigration party. They're the racist party. They're the ones that think brown people shouldn't be in Australia. None of those things are true. None of them. I sat next to Barnaby Joyce at the fundraiser yesterday. I had a great chat with him. He recognizes that we have to have immigrants coming into Australia. Now, if you don't want any immigration into Australia, let me make a deal with you. You can be absolutely anti-immigration once you have more than 3 kids. Because right now, the birth rate in Australia is at population collapse levels. And if you think getting overpopulated is a problem, and Australia is nowhere near overpopulated, by the way, but if you think overpopulation is a problem, wait till you have population decline and see what that does to your country, to your economy, to your future. Once you've had at least 3 kids, with one partner, if you've had multiple partners, I'm sorry, the number of kids has to go up commensurately, right? Unless you are adding to population growth, I'm sorry, I don't think you get a seat at the table to tell me that we can't have immigration. Because if we go into population decline, we are in serious, serious trouble. Barnaby Joyce understands that. Pauline Hanson understands that. David Farley understands that. Anyone that's actually spent time on this understands that. And I get that Shut the Gate is a really wonderful campaign slogan. But one of the things that One Nation doesn't like doing is lying to people. David Farley's not going to lie to you about his position. He knows what the popular thing to say would be, but he's not going to say that just because it's easy. He's going to tell you the actual truth, whether you really want to hear it or not.
Mate, I don't know what to say because I'm in that position where it's the brown dude saying shut the gate. And I explain to people all the time that, a lot of these problems can be traced back to white Australians, which I think you're one of, Topher. I'm saying this in jest, but I understand I understand the arguments you're making there as well. But this is what I mean, guys. When you tell me that, Rukshan, you're for immigration, I'm like for shut the gate right now. Shut the gate. And people on the left, they'll say, Rukshan, you're just pulling the ladder up behind you because you're already here. You're a part of the problem. You're already here, so it doesn't matter to you. I totally understand what you're saying, man, and I totally agree with most of your points. It's just, I just see us being dominated. I just see Australia being dominated. I hear it in the communities. I hear it in conversations. There is little regard for the Australia that I grew up in, at least in the 90s. And there's even less regard for, the historical idea of what Australia is. And that's a problem.
If you take away the rort, and the NDIS rort is one of the biggest, but if you take away the welfare rorts, I'll bring 4 wives over here and 3 of them will claim single mum benefits, and we'll just be able to live in one household off the various benefits that we can all get. The NDIS rort, all the other different kinds of rorts.
Is that what Joel Jamal's doing? Is that why he's one of the?
Is he collecting wives? Is he? I don't know. I don't know.
If Joel Jamal's watching for Dirty Point Australia, I have a feeling maybe.
I haven't caught up with him recently. But if you take that away, I promise you 500,000 recent immigrants will self-deport within 12 months, right? Incentives matter. Change the incentives and you will change the outcomes. In fact, if I can already see the incentives, I can already tell you what the outcome will be. I'll seem like freaking Nostradamus, but it's not a prophecy. It's just show me the incentives and I will tell you what the outcome is. Right now, the incentive is for anyone who can get into Australia to do so by any means, fair or foul, legal or illegal, it doesn't matter. Then immediately get involved in any one of these well-established rorts and start sending money home to their families. That's honestly, that's an entire career move right now. The incentives are wrong, and if we fix the incentives, we fix the problem.
Mate, I think this immigration debate, obviously we need to have a more thorough episode on this and actually
I look forward to it.
And go through it. Put a few like yourself, right? A libertarian, let's say. We might try to find a white nationalist, myself, an Avi, a Jew, right? And have all these different debates and come together and have a thorough debate on immigration, because I know we're talking about the by-election in Nepean, but immigration is one of the main key points that usually directs many conversations. And this came up because we're speaking about Farah and the comments that was made by the candidate there. If anyone's wondering David Farley, if anyone's wondering why we went on this tangent. But it does touch on very important points, Topher, and I appreciate your contribution.
It's important, and it's a debate that needs to be had. And if let's say a 1-year pause was the price that needed to be paid in order to buy time, in order to fix the incentives, then I would support that.
Yeah.
But if we stopped immigration for 3 years, I promise you by the end of 3 years, Australians will be begging for immigrants to come into the country, because otherwise we're going to have to get off our lazy asses and start picking fruit ourselves because the cost of food has doubled. I'm sorry. Like when you look at the economics of this, be careful what you wish for. Anyway, sorry, I'll move on. I'll stop now.
No, I think George Jamal's clipping this right now because I was just getting a message from him. So it's probably being clipped by Joel.
Hi, Joel. I hope you're well.
We'll probably wrap up the entire night here, guys. I'll just bring up the results here for now. Topher, if you can just kind of help people understand where we're ending things off as we go. This is the most
commanding win for the Liberal Party. That's the headline. Nepeans hold the Liberal Party hold the seat of Nepean with a commanding lead, a very, very solid result that they'll be very, very happy to see. The Labor proxy in the form of the so-called independent Tracy Hutchison has had an abysmal result. Labor did not run a candidate specifically because they knew that they would have a maybe 10% result, because if Tracy Hutchison was also still running as an independent and then Labor were there as well, Labor would be on track to get maybe 10%, which would be a humiliation. That's why they didn't run a candidate. What we're seeing here, though, is that the Liberal Party are polling at less than 40% right now. Now, there is still a bit to be counted. Not much, but there's still a bit. But they're polling around about 40%. And that means that they need the preferences from the One Nation Party in order to get over the line. One Nation are in second in this seat. That means that they will be in first in many other seats around Victoria come the November election. But in this seat tonight, they are in second position, which means you have an allegedly right-wing party, the Liberal Party. I say allegedly because they haven't behaved that way for a while. Then you have an actual right-of-centre party, One Nation. So you have two right-of-centre parties before you have any left-of-centre parties represented in the results here. And that represents a pretty seismic Victorian politics right now. That's right. We're talking about Victorian state politics. It's extraordinary.
Yeah. Thank you for that wrap up, Topher. I really appreciate it. If you don't mind, I'm just going to read a couple of super chats and we'll wrap up the show, guys. So,
all right, one last thing before I let you go, and I want to ask you this on air so that there are people watching. At the Farah by-election, which is coming up in 1 week's time, I will be physically in the One Nation after party. I suggest that we put our heads together and put something together so that we've got coverage of the results similar to what you've done tonight.
Yeah, I think, look, this is a great format, Topher, what's happening outside of the mainstream media. Obviously, I've seen Sky News and a few other media services covering this type of thing. I think Sky News and others will do a big coverage of the Farah by-election. But what I love about this type of coverage that we do, and even on your channel, Topher Field, is that it engages the populace more. You know, everyone's involved in the conversation. I've seen many different conversations taking place in the comments. I think it's great. I think it's the future of media, and the more that we can work on this and build this up and offer people different avenues to enjoy politics. It's not as popular as the AFL. Let's say. I wish it was. I wish people were more concerned about what's happening in the politics in Australia. But I think we can make it entertaining. So definitely when you're in Farah, there's a possibility that Avi might come there as well. We can definitely do something when you're there. But let me read the super chats. I'll let you go. I'll let you go.
I'm going to go up and see my family, but thank you for having me on, and have a good night, everybody.
Cheers, Topher. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Topher Field, guys, and you can find him at Topher Field. He's on Facebook, X, YouTube, growing rapidly as a political commentator here in Australia. And he has great analysis, as you can see. He's very well across the numbers, much more than Avi or myself. So it's great getting in a guest like Topher, and he can explain all these little intricate differences and what it means. Okay, not that we don't understand it, but it's more interesting when someone like Topher delivers it. We have a more casual, natural style of talking about politics. That's probably the best way to put it. But let's bring up some of your super chats. I appreciate all of you that have stayed in tune with us for almost 4 hours now. We started this stream, me and Avi, we started this stream at 5:30 p.m. here in Australia. We're heading towards 9:30. And, the results have come in. It does look like a Liberal victory. But there is some silver linings there for One Nation as well, as being discussed throughout the show. I did want to bring in some of the last super chats that we had here before we finished off the stream. So let me just have a look at what we have here. We got one from Scotty McLaren who says, "Where is Avi? Love you, Rukshan and Benji too." Avi's at a dinner, probably having a few drinks. Probably he's watching us on the big screen. and in ignoring his guests. How very rude, Avi Yemeni. If your guests are watching with you, he should be present in the moment and not watching a live stream when he has guests over. So I apologize to his wife, but that's just Avi. He probably feels like he's missing out by not being here on the stream with me and Benji. Jamie D says, can Benji please say, but did you die? I don't know what's going on here, but Benji, if you're listening, maybe call us in, Benji. We'll finish off with a chat with you on the show. So give a ring into the interview, Benji, on your phone, and we'll finish up right at the end. Marco says Benji is an attention seeker. Yes, for sure. We've got a super chat here from Solar Resistance Official 4903. One Nation increased their primary vote by 20%. Latest update of the count. That's right. They have increased their primary vote. Anthony, at the end again, Trump false time too. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. We'll blame Donald Trump. Duncan says, oh, this is for Topher. He's left. Topher, why did Carl's ban me for asking what rule I broke after posting a G-rated weight loss photo of my back? I don't know what's going on there, but that is for the Oddcast. That you can bring that up with them. I'm so sorry, but thank you for the super chat. Benji's calling in as well. We'll get Benji on the line soon. Benji, just hold up there, mate. And we got one more super chat here from Remove the Chains. Stuart Bonds, One Nation Hunter, New South Wales. Great coverage, 20% plus percentage confirms polls. We are living through a change we haven't seen in a lifetime. Change is coming. Very astute comment there from you, mate. Definitely, I think people need to see this for what it is, and that is that One Nation continues to improve and will be a contender come November. I think this is a good sign for One Nation. Let's bring Benji in. Benji, if you're listening, you're going to come on the screen now. Let's hope you're there, mate. And we'll finish up with the interview with Benji. Let's have a look. Oh my God. Benji, how are you doing, mate?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Yeah, we're doing good. Thank you for the work that you have done, bringing us live coverage into our stream there from One Nation's event.
Yeah, you know how sophisticated the tech we're using now when we do interviews.
Yeah, I think we've got to work on getting a better interview system for you for the phone, maybe a higher quality phone and a microphone system. We can take that up with Avi.
That's exactly what I'm thinking, man. But like, it is what it is, and like, you learn and you improve next time.
Yeah. There is some. There was a super chat for you for someone to say something, but maybe we won't do it on air. I'm not sure what's going on from a Jamie.
I saw that super chat. Like, I am confused as well. I don't know what he's talking about, man. I don't know what you're on about.
But yeah, Benji, what's happening there now? We're going to wrap up the show now. If you can just show us like what's going on, people just chilling out. What's the deal?
The people are just like mingling among themselves. Like the TV screen is turned off. The screen is supposed to show all the results from like the polls and all the stuff is gone. It's like people are slowly starting to go home.
Yeah.
Like, almost.
Perfect, Benji. Well, thank you for your coverage. Thank you for your coverage tonight, and thank you for doing the technical work there on the live stream. Your duties are done. You can finish off. I've been given permission to let you finish from Avi, so you're done. You can shut everything down, and I'll chat to you next time.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, mate. And thank you to everyone who's tuned in today for Rebel News Australia's coverage of the Nepean by-election. I hope you found it very interesting. We managed to get into the One Nation event and speak to some of the candidate himself, as well as some of the officials from One Nation, and many of the people that joined us for interviews, including Topher. Great analysis there. If you like the work that we do, make sure you're following us on all our platforms. You can obviously find that by going to that website, rebelnews.com.au. And that's the best way to support us. And there's other ways as well that I'm sure you've seen throughout the night in the videos that Avi has played. There is also, if you want to support Rebel News, with by getting one of the merchandise that Avi loves to wear. I don't know if you've seen Avi in his merch, but you can scan this QR code. It'll take you to the merch store on rebelnews.com.au, and you can find all the great t-shirts, hats, and other cool merch with the Rebel branding or Australia First branding that looks very cool. Thank you guys. It's been great hosting this. We do look forward to doing more of these type of coverage. So you have a hybrid mix of people reporting on the ground and people coming from a studio and videos along with that. Have a good night. My name is Rukshan Fernando. You can find me at the Real Rukshan on X, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram as well. Take care, guys. Bye.